Good afternoon and welcome to Lowell Park, where the Cotuit Kettleers will be taking on the Chatham Anglers today. I'm Jacob Cohen alongside Caleb Kaufman for your pregame show today, where we'll be recapping last night's 16-4 win over the Hyannis Harbortalks and prefacing today's matchup versus Chatham. And I'll turn it over to Caleb now to talk about the 16-4 blowout we had in Hyannis last night.
Well, the offense was firing on all cylinders last night for the Kettleers, as every starting batter came around to score in the game, and was led by Matt Mervis going 4 for 6 on the game and bringing in 6 RBIs, and alongside a great pitching performance by everyone. Reed Johnson came out firing, going 3 innings, not giving up any runs on only 5 hits in the game. And before the game, Coach Roberts really emphasized the it factor, making sure the players gave maximum effort on every play. There's no such thing as taking a play off. And the team really responded to that. Everyone chased down every ball. Adam Oviedo with multiple great plays on defense, including one making a leaping grab, then hustling back to second to double up in the end of the 6th inning. And then also Kyle Nicholas at the end of the game having a stellar comebacker, snagging it and throwing it over to first to double up as well. Cotuit couldn't do anything wrong yesterday, it seemed. And everyone seemed pleased with it, especially Coach Roberts, who talked more about it in his post-game talk.
A big win, Coach, 16-4. My sources tell me that before the game at Lowell Park, you had a little meeting with the team stressing effort. Were you satisfied with the effort today?
Yeah, not because of the score. I go by each individual, and I thought the last 2 days against Falmouth, our effort was pretty marginal, and very pleased, not because of the score tonight, but the guys really did have a great effort, and it's our last meeting till the end of the season. There'll be no more effort meetings. You put out effort, you play. If you don't put out effort, you don't play.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, obviously 16 runs scored, the offense had a great game, but just looking at the pitching staff, they gave up, with runners in scoring position, the other team was 3 for 15. What does that speak to the poise of your pitching staff today?
Well, we did a good job. I mean, they could have scored quite a few runs early. We were really fortunate to get out of a couple of jams early. Reed fought and finessed it, didn't have great stuff tonight, but I appreciate his effort. But we were fortunate, and we got out of some jams, and then we were able to get the bats going a little bit. And I know Chad, head coach at Hyannis, like all of us right now, as we go through this stretch of day after day after day after day with no days off, all of us are really worried about pitching.
Testing 1 2. Hey.
And whether or not we
check.
make it.
Hey,
so,
there we are.
I hope that we don't run into any nights where we're on the back end of something like this, but it could happen just because of lack of pitching for all 10 teams.
Just wondering, Kessler's obviously been out for an extended period of time, and Pasek has done a really good job of filling in. He had a tougher game at Falmouth, had a day off yesterday, and came back here. I think he's thrown 3 guys out now. How impressed have you been with him filling in for the team?
Well, he stepped up with Colton out with the injury and really played extremely well. Not only played well, he's just competed like you would want any young man to compete, and he's kept us in a lot of games because for 4 or 5 days we didn't have another catcher really, and we were fortunate to be able to bring our bullpen catcher on, but I didn't bring Jake to the league this year to actually catch in games. So Cody has stepped up really large for this team and kept us in the hunt to be I think one of the quality teams. So I can't say anything but thank you to Cody.
So that was Coach Roberts after the game, and thank you, Caleb, for the recap. Now we turn it over to today's matchup against the Chatham Anglers. The Cotuit Kettleers have been a little spotty in the last 5, winning 3 of those 5, but with 2 bad losses to Falmouth. It's been another story entirely for the Chatham Anglers. They've won 6 of their last 7, including a 15-1 blowout over Yarmouth Dennis on July 1st. And including that game, Chatham has held their opponents to 1 run in 6 games this season, almost a third of their games, which may not bode well for Cotuit, with 2 games against Falmouth in which they scored only 1 run in each of those. In pitching, Cotuit's pitching staff outmatches Cotuit's a little bit. Their ERA is 3.48 to Cotuit's 4.09. At the plate as well, Cotuit's been very powerful in the month of July. They have the 4th best team average through the first week of the month so far at 273 against Cotuit's 254. Not bad, but a little lower. And those bats have really been powered by Jamal O'Gwyn and Caden Polkovich especially. They've just been knocking it out of the park quite literally very often. Jamal O'Gwyn, a lot of comparisons can be made to our very own Nick Gonzalez. He's reached base in 20 of 21 games the Anglers have played this season. He's also hitting .318, a very good batting average. And while he has been streaky over the last 7 games, going hitless in 3 of those, he has consistently been able to get on base through walks, again, akin to our very own Nick Gonzalez. Caden Polkovich has also been a force to be reckoned with at the plate. He's hitting .300 on the season, the second batter on Chatham to be doing so. But over the last 7, he's been hitting an incredible .400. This junior out of Oklahoma State is just going wild in these last few games. And both of these players, O'Gwyn and Polkovich, both have on-base percentages of over .430 on the season. The last 7, that's been an incredible .500 for both of them. So half of their plate appearances, these guys are getting on base, and they're a real danger to get on base and score. And the Cotuit pitching staff is really going to have to look at the scouting report, be aware of what these guys can hit, and throw great pitches, and not walk them as well. That's another problem Cotuit's been having. In these last 2 games at against Falmouth, before last night's win over Hyannis, they walked 12 batters in those 2 games and hit another with a pitch. And Chatham's been great at drawing walks. They have 99 on the season, so Cotuit's really going to need to hit their spots and be aware of that and try to prevent more runners from getting on base without having to swing the bat. And however, on our side, we have some new names whose bats are getting hot to try to combat O'Gwyn and Polkovich for Chatham. We have Joey Loperfido, Christian Robinson, and Matt Mervis. They're all been hitting great in the month of July as well. They're seeing the ball great. All 3 of them are hitting over .400 in the last 5 games they've played. Now, not all of them have played in the first 5 games of July. Coach Roberts has sat out some of them, but in today's starting lineup, all 3 are set to play, so he knows where his strengths are, and he's playing to the players who have been really strong as of late. And one other thing that's looking up for Cotuit is that, discounting the 15-1 win that Chatham had over Yarmouth Dennis a few days ago, Chatham's last 5 games have been decided by a difference of only 1 run in each of them. And with Cotuit being the team to have the most recent big blowout, they're riding off the momentum of that, and it could be feasible that they get out ahead early and get a big win today over Chatham. So with that, we'll send it back up to Sam and Aram in the booth for today's call and the lineups.
Welcome to Lowell Park. Aram Layton alongside my partner Sam Niederman. We got a good one today between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Chatham Anglers. Of course, Cotuit coming off of a big victory, 16-4 over Hyannis, what felt like a marathon yesterday, Sam. Now, I'll give you a chance to talk about that a little bit. What stuck out to you in that trouncing of Hyannis?
Well, it's hard to pick out one little thing, but I'll say it was a reset button for the Kettleers. They needed a game like that to get back on track after getting swept in a home-and-home against Falmouth. And they took advantage of a horrendous performance by Hyannis. This was by no means a squeaky clean ball game. One of the ugliest baseball games I've ever seen. I think you would agree with that. The Kettleers were able to come to the plate. They worked 11 walks. They compiled 15 hits, scored 16 runs, season highs in all those categories. It was good for the offense to get all the bad out of their system and just see some more success. And Matt Mervis was the start of the game for me. 4 of 6 RBIs with his first home run, a huge breakout performance to key the offensive attack.
And they'll face a much more difficult opponent today in the Anglers. They're coming into today's game 13-7-1. That's first place in the East Division. Of course, Cotuit, after yesterday's win back over 500, they're 10-9-2. The matchup today will be another Jackson Wolf start against Chatham. He was dazzling at Chatham. He went 5 2/3, just gave up a pair of runs. He'll face Hugh Fisher from Vanderbilt. He's making his Cape debut. What do you expect from Jackson Wolf now his second time around against a good Chatham lineup?
Well, we've seen Jackson Wolf, and he pitched really good at Chatham last Monday, 5 2/3. I expect for him to fight and scrap to maybe even go even deeper. Remember, he was 1 pitch away from completing 6 innings of work before giving up a home run to Caden Polkovich, which eventually won the game for Chatham 4-2. But I think that Wolf has shown really good consistency over his last couple of starts. He looked good in 5 scoreless against Wareham, and I think he pitches well at home too. So we see how he'll contribute in that manner today.
So Wolf will go against Hugh Fisher, as we mentioned, his Cape debut from Vanderbilt, and we'll send it over to Coach Roberts' pregame interview. We'll be right back after that.
Coach Roberts with us at Lowell Park. Cotuit takes on the Chatham A's today. Came back with a huge win last night, Coach. You challenged your team to rebound and bring it, and they did, to the tune of a 16-4 win. How'd you like their response?
Well, I was very appreciative that, again, I asked them to come every pitch, and if they weren't going to come every pitch, then they can sit beside me and watch every pitch. And I was very pleased, and it was a long night, but we're thankful that we were on the 16-run side, not on the 4-run side.
A big part of being on that 16-run side was Matt Mervis. He busted out going 4 for 6 with a home run and 6 driven in. What did he do to be so successful last night at the plate?
Matt's just listened and worked on what we've asked him to do, and that's just kind of shorten his swing, calm it down. He's a big guy, and he came here with just very long swing, which a lot of the guys do. And he's just been very cooperative and coachable, and I'm appreciative, and I was really happy for him. That was his first big night in the Cape, and it happened to come against the team that he played with for a couple of weeks a few years ago, and didn't stay the whole season. But he had a really good ball game for us, and so to have a two-way player like him and a two-way player like Casey Schmidt right now with as many games as we're playing is so valuable.
How hard is it for somebody to be a two-way player at this stage in their development as a college baseball player and in this day and age?
Oh, I think it makes them more competitive. Yeah, I actually think it makes them a better player. A much better player. It's like a Deion Sanders years ago in football and baseball, or a Bo Jackson football and baseball. Makes you a better player. The competitiveness comes out of it, and you want to do that. And I think it's great. I love two-way players, always have, and as long as I'm coaching, I'll keep looking for guys and asking. I'll never do again what I failed to do. Charlie Blackman was here and didn't take one swing the whole summer, and now he ends up a potential Hall of Fame outfielder and hitter and $100 million plus richer, and he never took a swing here in Cotuit. So I hope I never make that mistake again.
Did you ever get to see Bo Jackson play while you coached at Carolina? I know different conferences, but did you ever see him live in action?
Yeah, I did see him live in action. I mean, that's a different human.
Yeah.
I saw Michael Jordan for 3 years play basketball at Carolina while I was a baseball coach and games operations manager, and that's a different human. There are people that come from a different planet, and athletically, and the Deion Sanders and the Bo Jacksons and the Michael Jordans, Darren Erstad, punter, football guy, baseball player, and head coach at Nebraska now. Those type people are just in an elite category and awful fun to watch.
All righty, Coach. Well, thanks for your time. Good luck today.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Well, you heard Coach Roberts went really in depth with his two-way players between Casey Schmidt and Matt Mervis. He talked about it earlier. Matt Mervis was phenomenal, 6 RBI. He was a late scratch in this ball game. We saw him get a little nicked up in yesterday's game. He should be fine. But Casey Schmidt also coming along. Those two guys might have been the best hitters in yesterday's ball game.
Yeah, Casey Schmidt went 3 for 4, had a couple of RBI himself, got on base 5 different times. Pretty crazy for everybody's stat line. It was a stat-stuffing kind of day for the Kettleers and Hyannis, and really fun to see this group score 5 runs in the 7th, sending 11 different players to the plate. I mean, that's just fun stuff at the end of the day, and Cotuit was able to get the job done, and now they're in a good spot to have some confidence against a really good Chatham team. This is a first-place team in the Eastern Division that's very balanced. They don't beat you in one category that's just dominating. They've got good offense. They've got good pitching. Their defense has not been squeaky clean either as of late, and Tom Holliday really thinks his team has not hit its full potential, which is interesting given that they've got the best record in the league. So it's a tough opponent. I think we'll learn a lot more about where Cotuit stands at this point in the season. And we're at the halfway point. This is the 22nd game out of 44.
And Chatham on a bit of a roll, but a lot of close games. They're 6-2 on the season in one-run ball games, but 5 of those results came this past week. They're 4-1, bettering 5 out of their last 5 one-run games, which is incredible. Of course, coming off of a 6-5 win in their last ball game at Chatham. But the thing about Chatham is they do just about everything pretty well, as you mentioned, Sam. A really balanced ball club. They're 4th in batting average, 3rd in ERA. The defense has to be the only hiccup. But when we look at the offense on both sides, Nick Gonzalez, Aubrey Major, Parker Chavers, and Jamal O'Gwyn all rank about the top in a lot of offensive categories. And the Kettleers will take the field as fog rolls in a little bit, but not enough to inhibit play. And Jackson Wolf ready to take the mound. The 6'7" lefty making his 4th start of the year. We talked about how good he was against Chatham in his last outing, 5 2/3, he just gave up 2 earned runs on 3 hits, struck out 7. And as you mentioned, Sam, he was just 1 pitch away. But that 2-run shot from Polkovich was the only time they were able to really get anything going against Jackson Wolf.
And he pitched so confidently, Aram. That was a huge thing. Remember, Spencer Torkelson was in the lineup for Chatham too, and he didn't really let him do too much damage. And since then, Torkelson has left the building after a 5-game stay with the A's, and he'll probably be back for the playoffs after his Team USA stint. But the thing with Jackson Wolf is just pitching to contact, getting strikes thrown. His stuff is pretty darn good in the off-speed category. That's his out pitch, if he can get his off-speed going. And it's a better ballpark as far as a hitter's park at Chatham, so he gets a couple extra feet on the fence here at Lowell Park, and I think he has a good game today to key the Kettleers on the mound.
And I had a chance to talk to Wolf yesterday about his start at Chatham and asked him specifically about Torkelson, and he said, I couldn't believe I was able to keep him in check. Every time he took a swing, I was ready to turn around and watch it sail because everyone has heard he's almost a legend among college with how many home runs and the numbers he's put up. But as for the lineup he'll face today, it's without Spencer Torkelson, but a lot of familiar faces. Tyler Dones is the leadoff hitter, then Ben Ramirez. Jamalo Gwynn bats third. He's led the way for this Chatham team on the offensive side. Jorge Arenas bats cleanup. Kendrick Kalilo will bat fifth. Brady Smith sixth. Charlie Welsh, the DH, bats seventh. Paxton Wallace eighth, and Colin Hall, the center fielder, bats ninth.
A couple of things before we start this game, Aram. I think Chatham brought the fog with him. I don't think I've ever really seen any kind of dense fog or mist at Lowell Park, but if you look out into the outfield, just in front of the tree line, there's this little dense layer of a, don't want to say a mirage because that makes you think of heat, but just something out there, and I guess it is a little bit of fog on a cloudy, windier day with some thunderstorms projected in the forecast later on around 8 p.m. once we finish up this game.
It's a really good point because Chatham has had several fog delays already this season. They're infamous for that issue over in Chatham, and we haven't seen it at all. And as you mentioned, they must have brought it over, but Tyler Dones gets ready in the batter's boxes. The fog is very mild, not enough to really make an issue for the field of play for the time being. First pitch of Dones is fouled straight back, strike one.
Oh, this is such a fun matchup, and we get to see the two West Virginia teammates go at each other again. Jackson Wolf, the lefty, on the mound, and Tyler Dones at the plate, second baseman for Chatham, who's come on pretty good here.
The two Mountaineer teammates enjoyed a really good spring where West Virginia hosted a regional for the first time since 1955. Fastball misses up and into Dones. And that had to be exciting for Morgantown. They ultimately were not able to advance to the Supers, but an amazing crowd and a great atmosphere. And Joey Loperfido over on first base and Matt Mervis also were the ones that knocked out West Virginia in Morgantown. But it was a really, really tough region over there and a great season. And Jackson Wolf should be excited. He'll be at the top of that staff for next year. 1-1 gets the outside corner, 1-2.
Dones went 0 for 3 against Wolf and an 0 for 4 night last Monday in Chatham.
Dones had a great spring, though. 21 doubles. That's fourth in the Big 12. Takes a fastball. This one just misses away. 2-2. He hit .316, drove 5 home runs. He was a 2018 freshman All Big 12. 2-2 to the leadoff hitter, Tyler Dones. He's a second baseman in today's game. On deck is Ben Ramirez. The 2-2 to Dones. Curveball. He fouls it off of his own helmet. It was a curveball that got in on Tyler Dones right on the hands. Nicked off the hands of his bat and actually hit him right around the ear hole, but he's all right. He'll take a few steps, gather himself, and get ready for another 2-2 pitch. I don't know if I've ever seen that, Sam. A foul ball that comes right back up into your helmet, almost hit him in the face.
Yeah, I think it might have even gotten a part of his cheekbone, but he's all right. Shook it off pretty good.
The count remains 2-2. Wolf out of the windup, kicks and deals. Another ball spoiled away. And Wolf has probably been one of the more consistent pitchers for the Kettleers so far in this season. Still looking for that one starter to really step up and be their so-called ace. But Wolf, in his 3 starts, 14 2/3 innings, 15 strikeouts, and just a 2.45 ERA. The 6'7" lefty out of the windup, ready for the 2-2. Another foul ball from Dones. A nice battle between the Mountaineer teammates. Home plate umpire Dan Henry is going to ask for some more balls. They just hit about 5 out of play. So the count remains 2-2. Doan's the right-handed hitter against the left-handed pitching Jackson Wolf. Wolf gets his sign, kicks and deals. Curveball just buried down and in. We're full to the leadoff hitter Tyler Doans. Doans adjusts his batting gloves, takes a deep breath, getting ready for the payoff pitch. The 3-2. Fastball, broken bat, flare out into center field. Cam Hill took a step back, now comes in and makes the grab for out number 1. So Jackson Wolf able to win the battle with his teammate, who's now 0 for 4 in his first 4 at-bats against Jackson Wolf. And it'll be Ben Ramirez, the 2-hitter and shortstop. He bats from the left side. First pitch to Ben Ramirez, curveball floats high, 1-0. Ramirez from USC, his teammate Jamal O'Gwyn, also from Southern California, waits on deck. From Chula Vista and East Lake High School. The alma mater of Adrian Gonzalez as well, longtime Red Sox, San Diego Padre, and Los Angeles Dodgers. He fouls off another 91-mile-an-hour fastball. There's just so much talent that comes out of those California high schools, Sam.
Yeah, Cali, Texas, and Florida, right? The big 3.
It's 1-1. Another foul ball, 1-2. This one went over the first base dugout.
What would be number 4? Georgia?
Georgia. I would say Georgia.
Louisiana, just those southern
North
states?
Carolina's a sneaky good
Really?
state, too.
Mm.
I think Coach Roberts will attest to that as well. But I'd take Georgia.
I have to ask him about that.
The 1-2 to Ramirez. Curveball just too far away, 2-2. Ramirez hit 273, 24 runs driven in 79 starts. The 2-2. Line drive just foul down the first base line. And Ben Ramirez is one of just 3 players to play in every single ball game so far this season. This would be ball game number 22 for the Anglers. The other 2 players are on the field today. It's Jamal O'Gwyn on deck and Nick Gonzalez out at second base. The only trio to play every single game this summer. 2-2 just misses away. And we're full again, back-to-back hitters working full counts. Another payoff pitch from Wolf. Ground ball fouled off of his foot. We'll do 3-2 again.
First 2 batters to come to the plate for Chatham have already worked into some deep counts against Jackson Wolf, running up his pitch total.
He was able to go deep, as we mentioned, at Chatham. Just 1 pitch away from 6 innings of work. Gonna have to work a little bit harder today. Already in the teens with his pitch count. Still looking for the second out of the first inning. The second 3-2. Lined out into right field. Major comes in and makes the grab, 2 outs. That brings up the other USC Trojan on this Chatham Anglers ball club. It's Jamal O'Gwyn. O'Gwyn has been fantastic for the Anglers so far this season. He takes a first pitch fastball, just misses low. He's 3rd in the Cape in extra base hits, only behind Nick Gonzalez and, of course, Austin Wells, who we saw hit a pair of home runs in a doubleheader at Red Wilson Field early in the year. Another fastball misses away, 2-0. He's reached base in 20 of 21 ball games as well. It's been a great summer so far for O'Gwyn. He's ahead 2-0 on Jackson Wolf, trying to record a 1-2-3 inning to start the ball game. 2-0's grounded out to shortstop. Oviedo fields it, throws it over to first base, and Wolf able to work a 1-2-3 first. We'll go into the bottom of the first inning. Still scoreless here at Lowell Park. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The first at Lowell Park, Hugh Fisher makes his debut for the Chatham Anglers. He just arrived from the national champion Vanderbilt Commodores. What a year for the Commodores. Just sweeping their way through the College World Series. Ended up winning in a Game 3 against Michigan. Fisher didn't pitch in that World Series, but pitched a lot of big innings during the regular season and looking to keep his momentum rolling into the summer. Fisher is a left-handed pitcher. Stands at about 6'3", a skinny build, but from Eads, Tennessee, and Briarcrest Christian High School. And 20 appearances, all out of the bullpen this year. He was 2-0, 4.78 ERA, struck out 41 in 32 innings.
What's crazy is Tom Holliday asked the pitcher and Fisher, hey, what do you want to do? You haven't started a game all summer long. He said, you know what, I'll start. Why not? So that's what he's doing here. Tom Holliday has gone with a sort of split it into thirds approach with his pitching staff this season, and we'll see if he goes to that today, if all goes according to plan. But we'll see Jeremy Wu Yellen probably as well, and Dawson Merriman at the back end of this game. But it's exciting to go up against a national championship arm in Hugh Fisher.
Fisher, a power pitcher from the left side. He exclusively works out of the stretch. Comes set at the chest, kicks and deals the first pitch to Nick Gonzalez that misses away. Gonzalez, of course, extended his 21-game on-base streak in yesterday's ball game at Hyannis. Looking to make it 22. Swings at that one, fouls it out at play, 1-1. A nice crowd on hand here at Lowell Park despite some iffy weather. The sky is completely white with clouds. Doesn't look like rain clouds, just a lot of fog and mist. The wind blowing straight out to center field. The flag to the left of the Lowell Park scoreboard waving back and forth. The 1-1 pitch misses up and out. Ball 2. On deck is Cam Hill in the hole. Aubrey Major. Gonzalez ahead 2-1. Awaits the pitch from Hugh Fisher. That one's crushed out into center field. Going back is Hall. He'll get to the wall and look up and jump, and he's not. Solo shot to lead the ball game off by Nick Gonzalez, and this man cannot be stopped.
Oh my gosh. Wow, Nick Gonzalez strikes again. One hit, one run, Kettleers up here in the bottom of the first.
22 straight ball games reaching base for Nick Gonzalez, except this time he doesn't even have to stand on a base. He trots around him, and he's back in the dugout. It's 1-0 Kettleers.
Another great hit. Almost dead to center in the left center gap. Lifted it. It had a lot of height on it, and what a way to introduce Hugh Fisher to the Cape League as well.
Cam Hill squares to bunt, pulls it foul, 0-1. Talked about the wind blowing out to center field. Nick Gonzalez was able to get it up in the air, like you mentioned, a towering home run, and caught a little bit of a jet stream there and had some help to push it out, as we've seen Gonzalez hit balls much harder than that, but still a 400-foot bomb to center field. He's missing balls and poking them out of here. The first batter Hugh Fisher faces this summer, unfortunately for him, it's Nick Gonzalez. He takes him yard, and now he's even 1-1 to Cam Hill. Cam Hill had a nice ball game yesterday. He reached base 4 times, a pair of singles and 2 walks. The 1-1 pitch, grounded foul off the foot of Hill. So it's 1-2. He walks it off. Just missed to the left of his Kentucky blue shin guard he wears on his right foot. The left-handed hitter Hill behind the southpaw 1-2, trying to stay alive. Aubrey Major, the switch hitter, waits on deck. The 1-2 pitch, curveball inside. He takes it for strike 3. A late call from Dan Henry. Cam Hill didn't like it. Has a few words with Dan Henry. But that's out number 1.
Curveball turned him back. Looked like Hill thought he was going to get hit for a second, but instead it nabbed the inside corner.
And that's why those lefty-lefty matchups can be so tough, especially against a power arm like Hugh Fisher. Got a hard curveball and slider and runs the fastball up into the mid-90s. First pitch to Majors, grounded out to the second baseman, Dones. He backhands it, flips it over to first base for out number 2. Good job by Hugh Fisher to settle in here. After giving up the leadoff home run, he's got the next 2 hitters out. And it's Arajanu, the cleanup hitter, with 2 away and nobody on. He's a switch hitter, and he also bats from the right side. Anu getting the start after not playing yesterday. Takes a swing at the first pitch. Fouls it into the glove of Welsh, strike 1. The 0-1 to Anu. Fastball inside, he jumps out of the way, 1-1. Infield plays Anu straight up. Outfield as well. Fog continues to roll through. Big swing through a 1-1 fastball. It's 1-2. And Anu, a guy that the Kettleers and Coach Roberts are really hoping can get going. After a really hot start, he's really come back down to earth. It's just 5 for his last 30. Swing and a miss, got him. Hugh Fisher bounces back after giving up the solo shot to Nick Gonzalez, but he leads this ball game off, giving the Kettleers a 1-0 lead through 1. We'll go into the top of the second. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. back out for the second after working a 1-2-3 first. He gets the middle of this Chatham order. It's Jorge Arenas, Kendrick Kalilo, and Brady Smith. Arenas has been one of the better bats for this Chatham order, right behind Jamal O'Gwyn. He comes into today's game hitting .371. First pitch to Arenas, fastball, strike one. 0-1 pitch to Arenas, spoiled away. Wolf working quickly ahead 0-2. Arenas, a shortstop from Stetson, will be a junior. From Monsignor Edward Pace, a powerhouse in Miami, Florida. Great baseball program over there. 0-2 fastball misses up, 1-2. Another durable guy on this Chatham roster. He's only missed one start in his 3-year career over at Stetson. Curveball misses in. Almost hits Arenas. He gets out of the way. It's 2-2. Arenas a returner for Chatham. Played 36 games with the Anglers last year. He hit .214. Drove in 9 runs. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball out to Nick Gonzalez. He fields it on a high hop. Throws over to first base and gets the first out of the inning. That brings up the outfielder, Kendrick Kalilo. One of the more difficult names to say in this Chatham order. First pitch curveball buried in, and it got him on the foot, so Hull gets to first base. And that's the first base runner of the ball game for Chatham. So Kalilo reaches base. He's hit by a pitch, and that brings up the catcher, Brady Smith, the 6-hitter. Brady Smith, the Florida Gator. Had a cup of coffee with the Kettleers last summer. Now playing this summer with the Chatham Anglers. Been the starting catcher so far this summer. Pick off over to first base. He's back easily. Wolf comes set at the belt, takes a long look over at first. First pitch to Brady Smith misses up and out. Smith comes into today's ball game hitting .321. That's 9 for 28. His 3 doubles, 4 runs driven in. The bat is Smith's calling card, still working on the glove behind the dish. 1-0 pitch is crushed out into left field. Shaver's going back, but Hull just watch it sail out of here. It's 2-1 in favor of Chatham on a 2-run shot off the bat of Brady Smith.
He hit one basically the exact same spot last summer for the Kettleers around this time of year. And he got a hold of a lower pitch of the zone and just golfed it out to left field. Pure power from Brady Smith, and that's how good Chatham is. They're right back on top with one swing of the bat.
We knew 1 run wasn't going to do it for the Kettleers. They're trailing 2-1 on the first home run of the season from Brady Smith. Now Charlie Welch, the DH, comes to the plate. Welch not hitting as well coming into this game, just 129, 4 for 31 in his 14 games. First pitch fastball, that's a strike. 89 on the gun from Wolf. Welsh from Pepperdine University. Takes that one low. It's 1-1. Limited action over at Pepperdine. Just 24 games. He hit .211. Drove in 10 runs. Another Florida guy, but further north, he's from Clearwater. Welsh calls time after a long look from Wolf on the mound. Gathers his composure and gets ready for the 1-1 pitch. Nick Gonzalez shades over towards the middle at second base. Everyone else plays straight up. That curveball bends in for a strike, 1-2. On deck, Paxton Wallace, then Colin Hall, the 9-hitter. One away here. Chatham took the lead on a 2-run shot from Brady Smith. 1-2 fastball misses up and out, 2-2. So 3 runs on 2 hits in this ball game combined between the two teams, both of them being long balls. Neither were cheap either. About 390-something feet on Brady Smith's and 400 feet off the bat of Nick Gonzalez. And that's strike 3 looking on Brady Smith. A good job by Jackson Wolf to bounce back. Paxton Wallace, the 8-hitter and first baseman, comes to the plate. 2 away here in the top of the 2nd inning. Wind begins to swirl here at Lowell Park. It's been blowing. You can see all the trees moving back and forth all around the outfield. First pitch fastball, strike on at the letters, 0-1 to Paxton Wallace.
And there's a lot of mist/fog that's blowing out from the third base side out into right field.
The 0-1 to Wallace, curveball. He buries it down and in again. We've seen Wolf miss glove side a few times on that curveball. He hit Kalilau with the curveball earlier in the inning. He ended up scoring on a 2-run shot. Foul ball off the bat of Paxton Wallace. It's 1-2. Wolf trying to limit the damage to just 2 on the 2-run shot from Charlie Welsh. Paxton Wallace behind 1-2. The 9-hitter Colin Hall on deck. The 1-2 pitch from Wolf. Changeup just bites down and away. It's 2-2. Paxton Wallace from Wichita State. Hit 9 home runs in 57 games. As he lines one into the right center gap. That could be extra bases, and it is. He's going to round first base and come into second base standing up. He's rounding second, coming in for third. The relay from Oviedo is not in time. A triple for Paxton Wallace with 2 outs here in the top of the 2nd inning.
Great drive to the right center gap by Wallace, and he got on his horse right away. Had no doubt in his mind that he wanted to make that 3 and took a really hard turn around second base and made a great decision. Could be a big run for Chatham out there at third base if they're able to plate him with a base hit here in the number 9 batter up in Colin Hall.
Paxton Wallace shows the speed, comes all the way around to third on a gapper into right center. Now Colin Hall tries to make it 3 runs in this top of the 2nd, 2 away. Runner on third base. That fastball misses away. It's 1-0. And Cody Pace will call time and go talk to his pitcher. Hall bats from the left side. The outfielder from Georgia Tech will be a senior. Plays for his father over there, his father Danny Hall, the coach for the Yellow Jackets, and also his brother played at Georgia Tech. A Yellow Jacket family over in the halls at Georgia. He's from Alpharetta, Georgia. We're talking about Georgia being a baseball hub. The Halls are a baseball family over there in Georgia. Hall had a great spring for his father over at Georgia Tech. 307, 18 doubles, 4 round trippers, and 41 runs driven in. Looking to drive a run in here with 2 outs. The 1-0. That fastball is a strike. It's 1-1. Hall hitting just 200 so far this summer. Takes a curveball down and away. It's 2-1. See, a lot of players have great seasons over in the spring at whatever college they're at, but the Cape is just a different animal, Sam. When you get here with the wood bats, tougher pitching, sometimes there's a bit of a learning curve. The 2-1 pitch. Curveball just bites away. It's 3-1. And this is the guy that Jackson Wolf wants, the 9-hitter Hall, the left-handed hitter. On deck's his teammate at West Virginia, Tyler Dones. He bats from the right side. Behind 3-1 on Colin Hall. The pitch. Fouled away. It's 3-2. Actually, able to make the grab in foul territory. A great job there by Parker Shavers to make the catch, and we'll go into the bottom of the second. Kettleers now chasing one. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Middle of the order for the Kettleers here to start the second inning off. Chatham was able to get two and take the lead. It's 2-1 in favor of the Anglers on a two-run shot from Brady Smith. Cotuit scored their lone run on a leadoff home run from Nick Gonzalez. Hugh Fisher was able to settle back in and strike out two of the next three hitters, and getting Aubrey Major to ground out to second base. Left-handed hitter Parker Shavers gets his first look at Fisher. It's a fastball 96 on the gun, right down the middle, strike one. Shavers has started to come around against left-handed pitching. Now up to 222 on the summer after a slow start. 0-1 fastball bites away, 1-1. On deck, Casey Schmidt, then Joey Loperfido in the hole. The 1-1 to Shavers. Fastball misses up, 2-1. Shavers had another blast in yesterday's ball game, and no doubter to right field. Starting to see his home run stroke come around the last week or so. He's had a couple. That fastball misses high, 3-1. Fisher, a guy that can run it up. We've seen him run it to mid-90s, touching 96. We'll see if he can touch 97. But struggling to harness that fastball so far. Behind 3-1 to Shavers. Comes set, kicks and deals. Fastball grounded up to the shortstop. He fields it, and Ramirez throws it on to first base for out number one. So Shavers couldn't take advantage of a hitter's count, and that'll bring up Casey Schmidt. He had 3 hits in yesterday's ball game. Another bat that's starting to heat up for the Kettleers. Schmidt reached base 5 times, 3 singles and 2 walks. The first pitch to Schmidt. He spins out of the way of a fastball. 95 up and in, ball 1. Schmidt bats from the right side. He's got the tweeners, the socks halfway up, the pants rolled up a little bit. The 1-0 pitch, grounded up the middle, a base hit. Casey Schmidt stays hot, and the Kettleers have a runner aboard with 1 away, and Joey Loperfido will come to the plate.
Casey Schmidt reached in all 6 of his plate appearances last night. Walk, RBI single, I beg your pardon, reached in 5 of his 6. Then he had a ground out to third. Infield single, and then a single right back up the box here. He's starting to see the ball well.
And a guy Coach Roberts really likes, you heard in the pregame interview, if you missed it before, he was talking about his two-way guys. Of course, Casey Schmidt can pitch a little bit too. Matt Mervis, another guy who had a phenomenal game yesterday, 4 hits, 6 RBI, who can also pitch on the mound. Fastball to Loper Fido, misses high. And that's something that's really nice to have if you're Coach Roberts, and can really help you with the DH and moving things around, and gives you a lot more to work with and an extra card in your back pocket. So Loper Fido ahead 1-0. He had the night off yesterday. He takes that fastball on the corner for a strike, 1-1. Casey Schmidt, the runner on first base, he's singled. Loper Fido at the plate with a 1-1 count. Cody Pasek, the catcher, on deck. The 1-1 to Lope. Ground ball through the hole, a base hit. Now getting to left field, coming around to third base is Casey Schmidt. And he's able to get to third on a single. First to third by Casey Schmidt. What a job to round second base and come in, reading the ball, trickling slowly out to left field.
Well, the thing that made that a hit in the first place was Ben Ramirez shading towards second for a double play. He was ready to turn it, and Casey Schmidt actually got a good jump on that ball. It was a hit and run, I believe, and Chatham was looking to try and get the runner at second base for a steal, but a good poke by Loper Fido and good base running by Casey Schmidt to motor into third and slide head first.
Joey Loper Fido continuing to stay hot. He was 4 for his last 10 coming into this ball game. Picks up another hit there, and Cody Pasek squares to bunt, pulls it back, called strike on the outside corner. We've seen Coach Roberts, he's not afraid to safety squeeze in these kind of situations. Pasek, the 8-hitter. Adam Oviedo, the 9-hitter, on deck. 1 out, runners on the corners. Pasek had a single in yesterday's ball game as well as a pair of walks. Loper Fido on the move. A wave and a foul ball off the bat of Cody Pasek. It looked like Loper Fido may have had that bag stolen. Seems like just about everybody walked in yesterday's ball game. The starting pitcher Samuel Thorson alone for Hyannis walked 7 and hit 1. And the relievers weren't much better. Part of the reason why the Kettleers were able to put up 16 runs. The 0-2 pitch to Pasek. He lays off a curveball. It's 1-2.
There were 11 total walks issued by the Hyannis staff. There were only 2 starters in the Kettleer lineup that did not walk. Everybody reached at least twice in the game. Can you guess without looking who the 2 were?
I have no idea. Mervis?
Mervis is one.
He hit the ball every time he could have walked.
Can you guess the second?
The 1-2 to Pasek. Line drive into center field, and this ball game is tied. As that scores Casey Schmidt. Loper Fido will advance to second base on a great 2-strike swing by Cody Pasek, and he just continues to be a surprise here for the Kettleers.
Surprise is right, and what a pleasant one. A nice approach there. He's able to box it up right into the center field. And the Kettleers have strung together a little bit of hits here, 3 in a row to tie up the game at 2.
And Cody Pasek picks up another big hit. And going back to what you were talking about with the walks, I have no idea. Who's the second?
Aubrey Major.
Aubrey Major. He went 1 for 7, right?
1 for 7, yes.
A lot of at-bats for the Kettleers. Aubrey Major did have a big triple there, if I'm not mistaken, and plated 3 runs. Another ground ball into center field, and that's a base hit. Loper Fido around third. The throw comes into the plate, and it's not in time. Loper Fido dives in, and the Kettleers take the lead on back-to-back RBI singles by their 8 and 9 hitters.
How about this little hit train for the Kettleers? 4 in a row here with 1 out in the second inning. Adam Oviedo grounds it right into center field, too. And Cotuit's got the lead back, just like that.
And the Kettleers are already able to get their guy, Nick Gonzalez, back to the plate. He led this ball game off with a blast to center field, extending his on-base streak to 22 ball games. First pitch to Gonzalez, a changeup called strike at the shins. Oh, 0-1 to Nick Gonzalez. Cody Pasek on first. He singled. Adam Oviedo on first, rather. He singled. Cody Pasek on second. He had the first RBI single. The 0-1. Flared out over the first base dugout and out of play. Nick Gonzalez behind 0-2. Now 77 consecutive baseball games for Nick Gonzalez at East Rage Base, dating back to last season at New Mexico State. And he just continues to just be a machine out there and lead the way for this Kettleer offense. We'll see if he can do it again. He's behind 0-2 to Hugh Fisher. 1 away, 2 runners on. The 0-2 misses inside and gets away, but just able to stay close enough as Cody Pasek took a few steps towards third and decided to retreat. Brady Smith able to pounce on that ball before Pasek could advance. So it's 1-2 to Nick Gonzalez. Fisher comes set at the chest, kicks and deals the 1-2. Pull just foul. You're never going to strike out Nick Gonzalez easily. He's going to make you work for it. He's always so good at spoiling 2-strike pitches. He just does there again.
I wonder what the average number of pitches he fouls off with 2 strikes is.
I wish there was somewhere we could find that.
I bet you it's about 2.
I don't know if Point Streak offers that. But still alive here, 1-2. The pitch. Fastball misses down and in, 2-2. Gonzalez comes into this ball game just 11 strikeouts and 74 at-bats. He's walked 13 times. .351 batting average before that home run. Looking to do more damage. Even 2-2 count. 2 men on here in the second. The pitch. Popped up behind home plate. We'll see if Brady Smith has a chance. By the fence, he makes the grab, and Nick Gonzalez is retired.
Good play by Brady Smith right by the backstop. Was able to keep track of it, especially with the tough clouds today. It's hard to see the baseball.
Cam Hill struck out looking in the first inning. Trying to pick up Cody Pasek on second base. Kettleers lead 3-2 on back-to-back RBI singles. They've already got 5 hits in this ball game. First pitch fastball misses up and out, ball 1. Hill bats from the left side against the southpaw Hugh Fisher. Fisher wearing the stirrups, comes set at the chest, high leg kick, misses low with the fastball, 2-0. Hill is dangerous when he gets on base, but the struggle has been in the last 10 or so ball games getting on base. He started the season so hot, was living around 600 in on-base percentage, but he's tailed off a little bit. Trying to get it going now at the plate, ahead 2-0. Misses up and out, it's 3-0. Hill's second in the Cape League with 8 stolen bases. He had 6 through the first 5 ball games. Just 2 in the last 15. Way ahead 3-0. Hugh Fisher trying to pump a strike in. The 3-0 pitch. Just gets the corner. It's 3-1. On deck, Aubrey Major, the switch hitter. In the hole, Arajanu. 3-1 count to Cam Hill. Cody Pasek, a big lead off of second base. The pitch. Ground ball pulled foul. It's full. Two outs to Cam Hill. The runners will be in motion. That's Cody Pasek on second, Adam Oviedo on first. Fisher takes a long look at his catcher Smith, finally agrees on a sign. Kicks and deals the payoff pitch. Got him swinging on a changeup. So Hugh Fisher's able to escape with 2 runners on base, but not before the Kettleers string back-to-back singles together to take the lead. It's 3-2 in favor of Cotuit.
Having a great Saturday. Top of the third inning. Kettleers on top of the Chatham A's 3-2. Sam Niederman alongside Aram Layton. We are live in the Arnold Mike Clark press box. Jacob Cohen, our director. Josh Rothstein alongside as well. Chatham back at the plate at the top of the order. Tyler Dones, Ben Ramirez, and then Jamal O'Gwyn. Jackson Wolf, the left-hander, on for his third inning of work. Teammate versus teammate here. A couple of West Virginia Mountaineers. Dones 0 for 1 with a fly out to center field back in the first. 3-2 Cotuit, top of the third. Dones gets into the right-handed batter's box. Wolf ready, and now the windup. First pitch, chopped hard to third, and it's off the edge of Casey Schmidt's glove. Dones reaches safely on an error. First error of the day for Cotuit. Make that 4 consecutive games for the Kettleers with an error defensively. And Dones is aboard to start things off in the top of the third. Scored an E5 on Casey Schmidt. Routine play, but he just pulled up on it at the last second. Maybe thought about the throw before actually securing it in his glove. One on with nobody out, and a pick over by Jackson Wolf. Dones on first base. Ben Ramirez at the plate. Shortstop out of USC 0 for 1 with a fly out to right field. 3-2 Kettleers in the third. Infield ready for a double play ball. Wolf from the stretch. Curveball just above the zone. 1 ball and no strikes.
You got to think Dones has seen Jackson Wolf's move a few times. Probably a tough guy to pick off and could get a good jump on his pitcher. He's seen him throw probably almost 300 innings at this point over the 2 years they've played together.
Another move over to first. Dones scoots back in, standing up. Kettleers in the home white pinstripes trimmed in maroon this afternoon. Maroon caps with the script C and silver on the front. Chatham is wearing their practice BP tops. Blue tops on white pinstripe pants. Another throw over to look at Dones. Uniforms just might not be clean or something, or I'm not sure what's up with Chatham, but they've got their blue practice uniforms with the Chatham A's logo on the front and just basic white numbers on the back. No last names or anything. 1-0. Fastball, fouled back behind home plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tyler Dones has a little bit of a cutoff on his sleeve so you can see his biceps a little more. Wouldn't want to mess with him. He's got some big arms. He leads off first, held on by Loperfido. 3-2 Cotuit in the top of the third. Another throw over by Wolf. He's got the advantage as a lefty to lift up his leg and not break the plane going home to actually still throw over at first base. One. Fouled off the end of the bat, left side. Shavers might have a play on it. He's right at the line, and he makes the catch in fair territory for out number 1. Ramirez a fly out to left field. Dones stays put at first base. And now another USC Trojan at the plate, Jamal O'Gwyn. 0 for 1 with a bounce out to shortstop back at the first. Pretty impressive how Tom Holliday has already built a USC pipeline. O'Gwyn has raked it so far this summer with a .321 batting average in the first 21 games. Man on first with 1 out. First pitch from Wolf, curveball. Skids in there for strike number 1. O'Gwyn, a native of Fresno, California. He follows in the footsteps of former Chatham A Blake Sable, an all-star last summer. Him and Ben Ramirez both played for Tom Holliday in year 1. Ramirez back for year 2. O'Gwyn here in 2019 as well. And he takes off the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sable ended up being a 7th round draft selection by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Dones on first with 1 out. 3-2 Kettleers in the top of the third. Wolf out of the stretch. 1-1. Curveball low. Snapback throw by Pasek to first. Nearly got the runner in Dones, who dove back in head first.
Love that out of Pasek, throwing that off the knee, keeping Dones close and aggressive back there. He seems to just get more and more comfortable at the plate and behind the plate. And a guy that just continues to blossom, I think, before our eyes this summer and making the most of his opportunity.
Wolf steps off the mound. He wants to reset. Cody Pasek has had a couple caught stealing as well this week behind the plate. One-two, runner on the move and Dones. Breaking pitch low, throw down from Pasek, not in time, and a good scoop at the other end by Gonzalez. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the batter. Tyler Dones checks in with a stolen base to move into scoring position.
Pasek had no chance there, and we talked about how Dones would probably know his left-handed pitcher a little bit, his teammate, and he got a great jump going on the first move, and by the time Pasek caught the ball, he was about 10 steps away from second base.
3-2 Cotuit in the third. Man on second for Chatham with 1 out. 2-2 home. Fastball out, 91 miles an hour. Full count on O'Gwynn. Kettleers took the lead in the bottom of the second inning, stringing together 4 consecutive singles. RBI singles coming from Cody Pasek and Adam Oviedo. Gonzalez shades towards second to hold on the runner and Dones. And Wolf steps off the rubber to reset. Maybe some mind games between the two Mountaineer teammates. Dones just seems to be teasing him a little bit off second base with his left hand on his hip. Very confident posture to assume. And it looks like he's got a grin on his face out there as well. 3-2, runner going again. Curveball low and in. Throw down from Pasek, not in time. Tyler Dones with back-to-back stolen bases. Meanwhile, Jamal O'Gwynn works a walk. And Chatham's in business again with runners on the corners at 1 out in the top of the third.
Another incredible jump and a good pitch to run on the 3-2 count. A curveball inside. Pasek again had no chance, and Dones showing the speed out there.
Mike Roberts comes out of the third base dugout. He calls time and wants to meet with his infield and Jackson Wolf and Cody Pasek. First and third for the Chatham A's in the top of the third inning with just 1 away. Jorge Arenas due up next, a cleanup batter who's 0 for 1. Coach Roberts probably advising his infield a little bit on how to play this situation and maybe a pointer or 2 on how to defend against a speedy runner in Dones who just took a couple of bags on the base paths.
Well, you got 1 out, right, and the runner on first base, so a double play gets you out of it, but you got to make sure you can get the 2 or else you might want to check on the runner at home. So I think he's going over those scenarios with his team. Expect the middle of the infield to be back. Corners probably playing even with the bag. And a hard hit ball should be 2.
Roberts a long mound meeting, going over things with Wolf. Home plate umpire Dan Henry comes out there to speed things up. It's 3-2 Cotuit in the top of the third inning. 1 out and runners on the corners for Chatham. Kettleers regained the lead on back-to-back RBI singles from Pasek and Oviedo. Hot day at Lowell Park, although it's cloudy with thunderstorms in the forecast later on this afternoon. About a 40% chance at 7 p.m. that we see some storms and a 50% chance at 8 p.m. That'll be right around the last third of this ball game.
Only need 5 for it to be official.
Yep, I was just about to say it. 5 innings marks an official game. We are already in the top of the third, making good pace despite a little bit of mist and fog in the outfield.
And just clinging on to a couple off days left for us and the players. I'm sure we'd hope weather will stay strong, and it's been nice the last few weeks.
Mound meeting over. Jackson Wolf steps over to first and a throw to Loperfido. Tyler Dones teases off of third base. O'Gwynn, the runner at first, short lead, held on by Loperfido. Dones off third, nobody holding on. First pitch to Arenas. Fastball gets the outside corner, called for a strike. No balls in 1 strike to Arenas, 0 for 1 with a ground out to second base back of the second inning. Wolf closed off out of the stretch on the third base side of the rubber. Leg lift and another throw over to first. Dones took a couple of hard chops home, but then stays back at third base. Always an interesting situation with runners on first and third, and only 1 out here. Oh, 1. Fastball low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Lots of fans here in Cotuit on 4th of July weekend. Third base grandstand packed to the gills. Concourse buzzing along as well. Even the visitors' grandstand on the first base side almost at capacity. 1-1 to Ramirez. Pending breaking pitch up, 2 balls and a strike. Cotuit took the lead in the bottom of the first. Nick Gonzalez, a solo shot to left center field, his 4th homer of the year. Chatham answered in the top of the second. Brady Smith with a 2-run shot to left. And the Kettleers got the lead back with 2 RBI singles in the bottom of the second. Breaking pitch out again. It's 3 balls and 1 strike on the batter, and Jorge Arenas. Chatham, a hot team. The A's have won 6 of their last 7. Coming off a doubleheader split at Falmouth yesterday. They had to make up that rainout that happened the other day when we were at Wareham on Sunday.
And how about 4 of their last 5 wins being by 1 run? They just continue to thrive in close ball games.
3-1 fastball tailed into deep right field. Major tracking into the corner. He's able to make the catch on a jump for out number 2. Dones tags and scores from third base, and we are tied up at 3 here in the top of the 3rd inning. An RBI sac fly by Jorge Arenas.
Good piece there by Arenas, just looking for something he could lift up. Wolf left it just a little too high in the zone, and he was able to drive it the other way. Almost snuck out of here with the wind blowing so hard, and Major made a nice grab up against the fence.
2 down and a runner on second in O'Gwyn. He tagged up on that fly ball. It's 3-3 after the sac fly. Next batter, Kendrick Kalilo. Kendrick Kalilo at the plate. He's 0 for 0, a hit batsman back in the second, and scored on the Brady Smith home run. A sophomore out of Florida. 1-0 pitch. Fastball jacked up into left center field. It hangs high for Cam Hill, who jogs in and makes the play for out number 3. Kalilo retired, and Jackson Wolf comes off the mound, giving up 1 run on no hits, 1 error rather, and 1 man left in scoring position. And we are on to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Chatham ties it on the sac fly. Kettleers coming up to the plate next. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Tied again, bottom of the 3rd inning. It's a 3-3 ball game between the Kettleers and Chatham. And Cotuit's back at the plate here with the heart of the order, 3, 4, and 5. Aubrey Major, Araj Anu, and then Parker Chavers to face a new pitcher, Zach Cable. A right-hander from Kentucky comes on. 6 foot, 215 pounds, a stocky frame, senior out of Roswell, Georgia. And Aubrey Major fouls off strike 1. It's his 5th appearance on the year. No record with a 9.00 earned run average. He's only thrown 4 innings, and he has given up 4 runs in that time span. Striking out 7, only walking 2. Aubrey Major at the plate, switch hitter from the left side, 0 for 1 with a ground out to second base. 0-1, fastball painted on the outside corner. Cable gets ahead, 0-2. Chatham ties the game back up with an RBI sac fly from Jorge Arenas back in the top of the third inning. 0-2. Wayward fastball way upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tom Holliday goes to his bullpen quickly. That's it for Hugh Fisher. The lefty out of Vanderbilt made his debut in 2 innings, gave up 3 runs on 5 hits. 1-2 breaking ball in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Major, and it looks like Brady Smith took the brunt of that last off-speed pitch.
Took a foul tip off the mask and then takes a off-speed pitch right to the inner thigh. Or hopefully not too far to the other way, but catcher's a tough position to play. You've really got to take a lot of nicks and bruises, as we've seen Colton Kettleers on. There's no injured list, but the so-called injured list here, and hopefully he's all right, and Brady Smith.
You could see the face, or the expression of pain on his face, and he's hinged over at the hips right now. Hopefully he's all right. Brady Smith takes a breaking pitch to the groin, the catcher behind home plate for Chatham. Tom Holliday just looks on for the first base dugout. Pretty calm. We're ready to go for a 2-2 pitch on Major. Cable comes set, works out of the stretch. Here's a pitch. Breaking ball lifted into center. It's coming down fast, and it gets down for a single in front of Colin Hall. Aubrey Major with a single to lead things off in the home half of the third.
That's one of those instances where not squaring it up works in your favor. If he hit that on the barrel, it's probably right at Hall for an out. He hits it off the end, and it just falls in front of him. But Major just continues to hit from both sides of the plate, but he looks even more impressive from the left.
Major leads things off with a single in the shallow center. Runner on with nobody out, and a Rajanu at the plate. A 3-3 ball game in the bottom of the third. First pitch from Cable. Short step. It's clubbed up into the air, deep center. Should be playable for Hall. And he's able to make the play for out number 1. Major thought about tagging from first, slithered off the bag, and faked as if he was going to advance to second base, but he stays put there. A long fly out for Anu. He's now 0 for 2. 1 down with a man on, and Parker Chavers due up. Chavers 0 for 1 with a ground out to shortstop back in the second. 3 runs apiece in the bottom of the third. Chatham ties things up in the top of this inning off the arena sac fly to right. Chavers takes a hard fastball at the belt, strike 1. Major a lanky lead at first, held on by Wallace. 0-1 to Chavers, fastball at the letters, 91 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike. Couple of Southern boys doing battle here. Cable out of Roswell, Georgia, northern suburb of Atlanta. And Chavers from Montgomery, Alabama, the capital city of the Yellowhammer State. 1-1. Fastball, high and out. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Why do they call it the Yellowhammer State? I feel like that's something you would know.
It's a type of bird, I believe. A yellowhammer bird. Need to double check that. That'd be really embarrassing if I got that wrong. Swing and a miss on a 2-1. 2-2. All right, let's see. Although my Wi-Fi hasn't been working well, so you're going to have to do the recon. It's a bird. Yep, it's a bird. I knew it. It's a yellow bird. 2-2 to Chavers. Fouled off. Left side. Arenas in foul ground behind third base, but he runs out of room. Chavers stays alive. Parker had a really good night against Hyannis last night with the home run. His only hit of the contest, and he came around to score as well on a walk. Major led things off with a single to short center. Anu flew out to deep center. Runner on first with 1 out in the bottom of the third. Kettleers tied with Chatham 3-3. Cable out of the stretch, 2-2. Fastball, poked foul on the left side. We'll keep the count here. Cotuit in the home white pinstripes, trimmed in maroon. Chatham in the blue practice tops on white pants with blue pinstripes, and the blue caps with the red A on the front. 2-2. Fastball, way upstairs, and it's off the edge of Smith. That gets back to the backstop and allows Major to move into scoring position at second base.
I'm so used to you describing the jerseys like you always do. It's funny to hear you just say Chatham in the practice tops. We have to find out at some point. I wish we could just send someone down and ask why they're in the practice tops, but maybe because it's hot?
I have a feeling the washing machine broke or something like that. I don't know. Maybe because it is hot. It's sticky out there. But somehow Coach Mike Roberts is wearing his quarter zip in the third base coaching box.
Always blows my mind, and he throws batting practice to the entire team in that quarter zip.
I talked to him before the game, and I said, it's a hot one, Coach. And he said, no, this is baseball weather. Baseball weather.
Sounds like a guy from the South.
Native of Asheville, North Carolina, born in 1950, Coach Mike Roberts. Major off second base, nobody holding on. One out, Chavers has worked a full count here. 3-3 game in the bottom of the third. Payoff pitch, fouled off the end of the bat into the parking lot. He stays alive. Judging by the fan reaction, it sounds like that one hit a car. Good at bat by Parker Chavers. Looking to break a 3-3 tie with Major on second. 3-2. Fastball inside and a walk with one out for Parker Chavers. Cable misses badly with a hard fastball. And the Kettleers have runners on first and second with still only one out and Casey Schmidt due up.
Great at bat there, like you said, Sam. Spoiling the tough pitches and finally working it to a full count where he could take that last pitch inside for ball 4 and really making Cable work out there.
Casey Schmidt at the plate, 1 for 1 with a single back in the second and a run scored. 2 on with 1 out. We are tied at 3 in the bottom of the third. Nobody holds on the runners. Infield at double play depth, and Schmidt pops one up on the infield, taken at one hop by Ramirez at short, and he's able to complete a double play to retire the side. He was able to shuffle over and get the force at second himself and made a sharp throw onto Wallace at first. 6-3 to retire the side here in the bottom of the third. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and a couple left on base, and we're on to the fourth. 3-3 between Cotuit and Chatham. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The game, the right-hander out of Purdue, 6'5", 235 pounds, a sophomore from the region, Northwest Indiana and Schererville, Indiana. And he's on for his 6th appearance of the season, 2-0 with a 5.68 earned run average. That's it for Jackson Wolfarm. He goes 3 innings, allowing 3 runs on 2 hits. 2 of those runs earned. He walked 1 and struck out 1 in his shortest outing of the season. Interesting that we see Bo Hofstra so early in the game.
We've seen Hofstra mostly as a back-end guy and a little bit more on Wolf. It is the second time he's faced this Chatham lineup, and sometimes second time around they start to know what you have. We saw them start to get more comfortable when they had their 3rd time around the lineup the first time they faced him. So now a lot of these guys are getting their 4th, 5th, and 6th at-bats against Jackson Wolf, and sometimes that helps. So not too bad of a start from Jackson Wolf. Excited to see how he'll look against a new team next time he comes out.
Of course, Wolf started against Chatham back on Monday, June the 24th, and worked 5 2/3 innings. So it would have been the 5th cycle through the order for him against this potent Chatham lineup. And Bo Hofstra comes out of the bullpen. The big right-hander is up against the bottom part of the Chatham order. 6, 7, and 8. Brady Smith, Charlie Welch, and then Paxton Wallace. Smith with a big pop his last time up. He's 1 for 1 with a 2-run home run that came back in the second. Three to three game in the top of the fourth inning. Hofstra winds up. And the first pitch to Smith. Breaking pitch just off the plate. Called for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Hofstra ready to work quickly out of the windup. 0-1 home. Off speed in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike on Smith. Smith, a former Kettleer, played in the back half of the season. 24 appearances for Cotuit last summer. Was a utility man, played catcher, first base, and was a designated hitter. He's been the primary catcher for Tom Holliday and Chatham this summer. 1-1 breaking pitch in the dirt, 2 balls and 1 strike. Bo Hofstra has been a power setup man for the Kettleers. This is the earliest in the action that we have seen him come out of the bullpen here at the top of the fourth inning. 2-1 pitch. Fastball dives downstairs. And that is ball 4 to Brady Smith. Beg your pardon. A 5-pitch walk. Smith walks to lead things off in the top of the fourth. Charlie Welch up next, the designated hitter. One on with nobody out in the top of 4, 3-3 game. Welch 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking against Jackson Wolf. Hofstra out of the stretch. Welch now shows bunt. Casey Schmidt creeps in from third. Hofstra holds out of the stretch and now steps off. Loperfido holds on the runner and Smith at first base. Middle of the Cotuit infield ready for a double play ball. Outfield plays straight up. Hofstra ready at the belt. Short lead at first for Smith. And a throw over to first, a little bit high. Chatham tied things up at the top of the third inning. An RBI sac fly by Jorge Arenas to right. Only 2 hits for the Anglers on the road so far. Kettleers 3 runs on 6 hits. First pitch to Welch. Fastball low and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Runner on with nobody out, 1-0. Bunted by Welch, and it spurts off the bat foul on the first base side. 1 ball and 1 strike. Casey Schmidt playing in just a little bit at third base, aware of the bunt situation. One. Breaking ball. That's on the top part of the zone. Strike number 2. 1-2. Tied up at 3 in the top of the fourth. Leadoff runner on and Brady Smith after a walk. 1-2 from Hofstra. Swing and a miss. Good slider down and away. And Hofstra gets Welch on strikes for out number 1. Welch now 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Hofstra bounces back after the leadoff walk. Still 1 man on first base with 1 down, and Paxton Wallace at the plate. 1 for 1 with a triple back in the second inning.
Showed the wheels for a first baseman. He really motored around the bases.
He did, and Hofstra misses with a fastball that gets to the backstop. Brady Smith turns into second base. He stays there, runner in scoring position now for Chatham, and only 1 out in the fourth. Cloudy sky above at Lowell Park. You can see the sun trying to peek out from behind just a little bit if you look back over the Kettleer kitchen on the third base side. It's still pretty hot. Hofstra set at the belt. And a turn back to second to look at the runner in Smith, who dives back in with his right hand. Nick Gonzalez on the receiving end of that pickoff from Hofstra. That's something we saw a ton last night, and we've seen it basically all this week, Aram. Every single Kettleer pitcher with a runner on second, they throw over there.
Yeah, if I was on second base against the Kettleers for the first pitch, I don't even know if I'd get off the bag because they've been picking off every single time, like you said.
1-0 to Wallace. Breaking pitch. Hit on a line. Deep left field. Chavers jogging back. And that's down at the base of the fence. Here comes Brady Smith, and Chatham's got the lead again. An RBI double by Paxton Wallace. And that makes it a 4-3 game to the Anglers in the top of the fourth.
Paxton Wallace continuing to mash the first time opposite field off the lefty Wolf into right center. And now he yanks one off of Bo Hofstra 90 miles per hour and turns it around right over Chavers' head.
Parker Chavers turned back for it, and it looked like it might have a chance to get out, but instead it landed right at the bottom of the fence. And Brady Smith came chugging on home from second base. Paxton Wallace 2 for 2 with a couple of extra base hits. This RBI double makes it 4-3 Chatham in the top of the fourth. Good throw over from Hofstra at second base trying to pick the runner. But the ball spilled out of Adam Oviedo's glove. Wallace safe. Next man up, Colin Hall, the number 9 man from Georgia Tech. 0 for 1 with a fly out to left field back in the second. He bats from the left side. Hofstra comes set. First pitch. Fastball downhill and called for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. Paxton Wallace has given Chatham the lead on just their third hit of this game. An RBI double to deep left field to plate Brady Smith. He's already got a triple, Paxton Wallace. You might as well put him on cycle watch. He's got basically probably the two easiest components of a cycle left to do with a single and a home run. Hofstra to the plate. A 1 breaking pitch outside. 1 ball and 1 strike on Hall. Talking about Colin Hall earlier, the son of Danny Hall at Georgia Tech. Longtime head baseball coach for the Yellow Jackets. 32 years and 3 trips to the College World Series. Hall, a native of Alpharetta, Georgia, northern suburb. He's even in the count, 1-1. Fastball spoiled off foul on the left side, 1-2. Hall's dad, Danny, has coached so many greats that have come through the Georgia Tech baseball program, including Nomar Garcia-Parra, a Cape League legend and a legend in Major League Baseball. Jason Varitek, Mark Teixeira as well. Runner on second with 1 out. 1-2 from Hofstra. Breaking pitch just nipped off foul. Still 1-2 on Hall. That's not to mention Charlie Blackman, one of the more famous modern-day Kettleer alums, class of 2005 in Cotuit, and we talked with Coach Mike Roberts before the game about that. Blackman, a two-way player out of Georgia Tech. Funny thing is, he did not swing 1 bat here in Cotuit in live game action. He pitched for the Kettleers, and now he's an all-star with the Rockies as an outfielder. Breaking ball on the outside corner, ring him up. Bo Hofstra gets Hall looking. A strikeout for out number 2 here in the fourth.
It's unbelievable to think about because he's now one of the premier left-handed hitting outfielders in the entire league and a consistent all-star. And something, Coach Roberts is a great evaluator of talent. He said he could not make that mistake ever again.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the reason why we're seeing Matt Mervis and Casey Schmidt, 2 guys who are great on the mound, getting consistent at-bats because that's not a mistake anyone wants to make twice.
Man on second for Chatham, 2 outs. Here's Tyler Dones. He takes a curveball low, 1 ball and no strikes. Dones 0 for 2. He reached on an error back in the third and came around to score on the sac fly by Arenas. Wallace, the man on second. His RBI double has given Chatham a 4-3 edge here in the fourth. 1-0 from Hofstra. Fastball called for a strike on the inner half of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's pretty crazy that Charlie Blackman was here as a pitcher. I still can't believe that. I don't know if I can really picture that, you know? With the big beard and...
I doubt he had the beard.
He just rakes, you know? Hofstra steps off. He just seems like such a grizzly dude with the beard. I guess I can't really picture him. I know Brian Wilson, for instance, had a big beard and was a big-time closer for the Giants, but when you see a guy all geared up at the plate, it's hard to picture him on the mound as a pitcher. 1-1 to Dones. Fastball in the dirt, 2 balls and a strike. Chatham 4, the Kettleers 3 in the top of the fourth inning. Paxton Wallace, the go-ahead RBI double. He's on second base. Nick Gonzalez shades him a little bit to cover. 2 balls and a strike on Dones. Hofstra comes set, closed off out of the stretch. The pitch. Slider. That's on the outside corner for strike 2. Here's a 2-2. Breaking pitch. Dones thought about turning the hands on it. He did not go around, according to the first base umpire, Mike Robideau. Full count. Mike Roberts out of the dugout to motion to Aubrey Major. He wants his right fielder shade a little bit more towards the gap. Payoff pitch. Fastball called for a strike at the knees. Bo Hofstra with another strikeout looking. He strikes out the side here in the 4th and gets Dones to cap off the inning, but Chatham gets the lead back. An RBI double by Paxton Wallace. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left in scoring position. And we are on to the bottom of the 4th. Cotuit back at the plate. When we return, this is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The Kettleers are back in the play. Bottom of the 4th inning. Chatham's up 4-3 on Cotuit. And Joey Loperfido starts things off at the plate for the Kettleers. 7, 8, and 9. Cody Pasek on deck. Adam Oviedo in the hole. Zach Cable, the right-hander out of Kentucky, on the mound. It's his 2nd full inning of work. First pitch to Loperfido. Fouled off into the parking lot. Left-handed batting first baseman on a Duke. 1 for 1 today with a single and a run scored back in the 2nd inning.
Great piece of hitting in his first at-bat with the hit and run. The shortstop, Ramirez, shaded over, and he poked it right back where he was supposed to be.
0-1, hit high in the air to right center field. Hall has a beat on it in the gap, and he's able to make the catch on the run for out number 1. Loperfido, a long fly ball to the right center alley. Leadoff man retired in the home half of the 4th. Nobody on for Cody Pasek. 1 for 1 with an RBI single back of the 2nd. Four-three Chatham in the bottom of the 4th. First pitch fastball to Pasek inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Pasek, a really nice night last night. He singled and walked twice and scored in a grand total of 6 plate appearances. And he gets a hold of one to deep right center here. Hall on the run in the gap, and he's able to make another nice catch right before the wall for out number 2.
Right about at the same spot both times. Deep to right center, about 5 feet from the wall. And 2 great pieces there, just missing under it. With the wind blowing out, you don't have to get all of it, and we're seeing it carry pretty deep. Those might be routine fly balls most of the time.
It's been pretty windy all game long. The American flag is at a standstill right now in left center field, but you can see the netting on the third base side just being constantly blown into the field of play. Trees bristling out there in the wind. 2 outs and the base is empty. Here's Adam Oviedo. He takes a first pitch changeup for a strike. 0-1. Obi an RBI single back in the second inning as well. That gave the Kettleers the lead at the time, 3-2. But Chatham has scored 2 straight. An RBI sac fly by Jorge Arenas in the third tied things up, and the RBI double by Wallace in the fourth gave him the lead. A slash into left, easy play out there for Kendrick Kalilau, the left fielder, who's able to retire the side in order. 1, 2, and 3 for the Kettleers here in the bottom of the fourth, and we are down 4-3 heading into the fifth. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Work for Bo Hofstra. He was touched up for a run in the fourth on a double from Paxton Wallace. What a day for Paxton Wallace so far, a double and a triple. He came into today's ball game hitting just 200. But it'll be Ben Ramirez, Jamalo Gwynn, and Jorge Arenas to lead off this fifth inning. First pitch fastball nips the corner, strike one. Ramirez 0 for 2 on the ball game so far. He has a pair of flyouts, one to left, one to right. The 0-1 to Ramirez. Changeup misses down and away, 1-1. Ramirez started today's ball game hitting .262. Third on the Angler Ball Club with 17 hits. 1-1 misses down and in, 2-1. The earliest we've seen Hofstra come into a ball game so far this summer, he's mostly worked as a setup man, working 7th and 8th innings. He got the ball in the fourth now, working his second inning in the fifth. That fastball misses low. It's 3-1 to the two-hitter Ben Ramirez. Jamalo Gwynn waits on deck. .3-1 pitch. Lined out into left field. Parker Shaver's range is over and makes the grab for the first out.
Coach Mike Roberts really praised Bo Hofstra back on Monday in the win over Hyannis. That was a topsy-turvy game for the Kettleers. Cotuit was up 8-3 in the 8th inning, then gave up a 5-run lead, and the majority of that came with Hofstra on the mound, but he had the mental toughness to get back in the 9th and get the final 3 outs for the save in a game the Kettleers won eventually 9-8.
First pitch to Jamalo Gwynn misses down and out, and I think it was a big sign of the confidence Coach Roberts has in Bo Hofstra, sticking with him after struggling his first 2 innings. Brings him back out for the 8th when the Kettleers recapture the lead, and he nails down the save. Kettleers won that ball game 9-8.
That's a big mentally tough example by Bo Hofstra.
2-0 pitch. Misses down and away 3-0, and he's one of the younger players on this Kettleer team. Will just be a sophomore this coming spring at Purdue. The 6'5" right-hander out of the windup, the 3-0 pitch. Fastball this time gets the corner, 3-1 to Jamalo Gwynn. Gwynn leads the Chatham Anglers in just about every single offensive category. and extended his pace of reaching base to 20 of 22 games. He fouls that one off. It's full, 3-2. And he's been the leader of this Chatham ball club since Spencer Torkelson came for a cup of coffee. Then he head over to the USA Baseball in North Carolina, where he's been tearing it up. One of the best players in the country. Payoff pitch is fouled away. It's 3-2 again. O'Gwyn's second in the entire Cape League with 17 runs batted in. He awaits the second payoff pitch with nobody on, one away. Misses down and in, ball 4. O'Gwyn walks for the second time in this ball game. Kettleer pitchers continue to be careful with the USC Trojan.
I was just about to say, it looked like Hofstra was kind of pitching around him there. Just didn't get him to break on a breaking pitch down and a 3-2 count.
So Hofstra will take his chances with the cleanup hitter Jorge Arenas. Arenas from Stetson, a shortstop. Arenas picked up an RBI in the third inning on a sac fly. He's 0 for 1. Pickoff over to first base, O'Gwyn's back easily. Gwyn continues to pick up around Lowell Park. Some fans have filed out in anticipation of some of the weather that looms around 7 o'clock. Only need 5 innings to make it official, and we're here in the 5th inning. That first pitch fastball is a strike, 0-1. Arenas 6 for his last 16. That's 375 in his last 10 ball games. He grounds one up to Oviedo. This could be 2. Flip over to Gonzalez for 1. The turn in time. Big double play for Bo Hofstra to get out of the 5th inning. Cotuit still chasing 1. It's 4-3. Hofstra strands the 1 runner on a walk. We'll go into the bottom of the 5th. 4-3 in favor of Chatham. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. They're still chasing 1. It's 4-3 in favor of Chatham here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Nick Gonzalez, he led the ball game off with a solo shot. Will lead things off. First pitch, check swing, not able to hold up. With the appeal over, and they'll call it a ball. It looked like a swing initially from Nick Gonzalez. We'll say he held up, and he's ahead 1-0. Three runs on 6 hits for the Kettleers. 4 runs on just 3 hits for the Anglers. Gonzalez, well, now they called it a strike actually. So it's 0-1 to Gonzalez. My first intuition was correct. That curveball bends up and out. 1-1.
I don't blame you, because Dan Henry behind home plate today is very discreet with a lot of his strike calls. Some of them, it just seems like he's going verbal, no physical signal.
A lot different than the umpire we had last night.
Fred DeJesus.
Fred DeJesus was very animated. That 1-1 curveball bends in for a strike.
That's how he did it.
He got the
Did
legs into it.
The wrist flick.
Yeah, Dan Henry's a little more secretive with his calls.
Yeah, he just kind of like juts it out of the hip, basically, with the right hand.
Actually fooled the scoreboard too, which read 1-0. I thought I missed something, but now it's 1-2. A swing and a miss, and that's strike 3. Tags him out, and that's out number 1.
Something smells good in that Kettleer kitchen. Do you smell that right now?
We are downwind of the Kettleer kitchen. It's probably hot dogs.
Yeah,
That's their main
but
thing around
it
here.
It does kind of smell like fried food. I don't know. We do have the potluck after this, if the rain holds off.
Weather permitting. But now that's Cam Hill up. He's struck out twice. He's 0 for 2. Takes a first pitch change up, down and in, ball 1. One and 0 to Cam Hill, bats from the left side. He grounds one just foul down the first base line. It's evened up at 1-1. Another battle between teammates in the spring. Zach Cable on the mound, a Kentucky Wildcat facing Cam Hill. Of course, Hill, one of 3 Wildcats on this Cotuit Kettleers ball club, the others being Colton Kessler and Araja New, who will arrive to campus this spring. The 1-1, he squares to bunt, pops it up, and fouls it off the track man right there. I'm sure that's been made to be able to sustain hits, but let's hope Peter Flaherty, our GM liaison, still working down there with his laptop. Of course, TrackMan, a big proponent of what the scouts use down here. Gives you exit velos, gives you spin rates for pitchers, distance on home runs, just about everything. It's become a big part of baseball today. 1-2 misses down and away, a changeup. It's 2-2.
I'm still trying to figure out how that little box is able to sense all of that.
It's unbelievable.
The baseballs, they don't have anything in them, right?
No, nothing.
No sensor, no nothing?
Nothing at all. And if
Okay.
you've never seen a TrackMan box, it's about the size of your average speaker, a little bit bigger, and just a bit of a rectangular shape. Nothing big. Can't really see how it does all of that and everything it does. Another foul ball straight back. This one just misses the TrackMan, and it's still 2-2. So still no rain here at Lowell Park. Some fans file back into their seats. As the wind kicked up, they thought maybe some rain was coming. It's held off so far, and Cam Hill swings through a 2-2 changeup, and he's got a hat trick today. That's his 3rd strikeout of the game.
Yeah, tough day for Cam Hill to start. And even tougher on this one, given the bragging rights situation with Cable, the fellow Wildcat on the mound.
So that brings up Aubrey Major. He singled in the 3rd inning. The switch hitter bats from the left side. 1 for 7 with a big triple yesterday. Swings at the first pitch, nubs it off the end, foul down the 3rd base line. Major, a lanky 6'5". Open stance, the right leg almost outside of the batter's box. The 0-1 pitch, he fouls another one away. It's 0-2. That goes over the grandstand on the 3rd base side. 0-2 count to Aubrey Major, the 3-hitter in today's ball game. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Still 4-3 in favor of the visiting Chatham Anglers. 0-2 poked out to the shortstop Ramirez. He fields it on a hop, throws it on the run, and just beats the hustling Aubrey Major for the 3rd out of the inning. So still 4-3 in favor of Chatham. We'll go in to the top of the 6th inning. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
keep this thing going. We are at the top of the 6th inning. Kettleers trail at Chatham Anglers 4-3. Sam Niederman, Aram Layton, Jacob Cohen, Josh Rothstein. We are all here in the Arnold Mycock press box at beautiful Lowell Park. Not quite a beautiful day, though. Cloudy skies overhead. It's been windy all game long with a little bit of mist and fog at the beginning. That has since cleared up, but there are some thunderstorms that are bearing down coming from the north. So we'll see how many more innings of this one we can get in. Maybe we'll be able to get in the full 9 innings or at a pretty good speed. I guess everything looks fast compared to last night's 3-hour, 40-minute affair against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. But it's 4-3 Chatham, and Chatham's back at the plate. Kendrick Kalilau is back at the plate, and then Brady Smith, his Florida teammate, on deck. Charlie Welch in the hole. And Bo Hofstra still on the mound for Cotuit. It's his 3rd full inning of work out of the pen. Kalilau, 0 for 1, hit batsman in the 2nd. He scored a run and flew out to center back in the 3rd. Behind in the count here, no balls and 1 strike. Had a sensational freshman season under Kevin O'Sullivan in Gainesville this past spring. 0-1, breaking pitch, swing and a miss. Actually a fastball there. 94 miles an hour, low and in. No balls and 2 strikes on Kalilau. Hofstra steps off the rubber to get his sign. Kalilau, a .276 batter with the Gators this past spring. And a wave and a miss away. Hofstra beats him on 3 pitches. Give him another strikeout. It's his 4th of the outing. One down, bases empty. Brady Smith back at the plate. Very productive day. A 2-run home run back in the 2nd. And a walk and a run scored on the Paxton Wallace go-ahead RBI double back in the 4th. 4-3 Chatham here in the top of the 6th. 1 out and the base is empty. First pitch from Hofstra. Slider on the outside corner. No balls and 1 strike on Smith. Smith bats from the right side. Big stocky frame at 6 foot, 195 pounds. 0-1. Breaking pitch, turned off foul towards the Kettleer dugout, and it looks like it ricocheted off of Smith's foot. He comes up hopping out of the dugout or the batter's box. Hopefully he's all right. He's taken a couple of hits today behind the plate. He takes off his batting helmet and tries to walk it off. Arm's looking at the radar right now. What you got?
It looks like a giant wall of just rain and storms coming for us.
A lot of red and yellow coming down right now in the Boston area, heading towards the Cape due south.
It's like nobody in the Cape is safe.
It stretches throughout the entire width of the Cape, yes.
I'm like zooming out. I have to keep zooming out to see how far like it spans across the entire screen.
A monstrous line of storms all across Mass in the northeast. 0-2 to Smith. Fastball in the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Good news is we have completed the 5 innings to make this a complete ball game. So it will go in the books no matter what happens. No makeup or nothing. The only bad thing is the Kettleers are losing right now, down 4-3. 1 out with the bases empty in the top of the 6th inning. Bo Hofstra steps back onto the rubber. Brady Smith back into the right-handed batter's box. Wind up and the 1-2. Breaking pitch. Hit away foul on the right side. Smith stays alive. Smith gained some pretty big notoriety around college baseball last summer. Well, Florida made it back to the College World Series. Because of his looks, he looks just like Matt Damon. Breaking pitch, grounded foul on the 3rd base side. Literally, he looks exactly like Matt Damon, the actor. Bourne Supremacy or the Bourne or Jason Bourne series, Bourne Ultimatum. What's the other one? Bourne Identity.
I get them all confused. They're all the same to me.
Yeah, they're pretty good movies. I enjoyed them. This guy looks exactly like Matt Damon, though. Brady Smith at the plate. And it was great to have him in Cotuit last summer. A fun face around the clubhouse. Put in some good work after a successful freshman year with Florida. He's coming off of a good sophomore year, too. 1-2. Breaking ball. Hammered foul on the ground. Just past 3rd base. Smith's Florida teammate Kendrick Kalilau flew out to begin this inning, or struck out rather. Nobody on base with one out. Another 1-2. Fastball high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chatham has already beaten the Kettleers in the previous 2 matchups. Kettleers lost 7-6 in the second game of the season and also lost 4-2 last Monday on the road. 2-2. Breaking ball. Hit in the air, left field, and that's down for a base hit. Brady Smith gets a hold of another one. It's his second hit of the day. He's on base for the 3rd time today. A 1-out single here in the 6th, and that flips it over to Charlie Welch, the number 7 batter. 4th hit of the day for Chatham. Smith has 2 of them. The other 2 from Paxton Wallace, who's on deck. A triple and a go-ahead RBI double that came back in the 4th. Charlie Welch at the plate from the right side, 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Throw over to first to check on Smith. Loperfido holds on. A lot of space on the right side of the Kettleer infield. Hofstra struck out Welch in his first inning of work back in the 4th. First pitch. Fastball on the outside corner, called for a strike at 90 miles an hour. No balls and 1 strike on Welch, the DH out of Pepperdine. Double play depth for the Kettleer, middle of the infield. 0-1. Breaking ball, grounded to second. Gonzalez over to Oviedo for 1. Relay on to first. Got him for a double play. 4-6-3 for the Cotuit Kettleers. And that ends things for Chatham here at the top of the 6th. Bo Hofstra, 3 solid innings of work out of the bullpen. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base for Chatham. On to the bottom of the 6th with the Kettleers at the plate. After this is Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. End of a 4-3 game against the Chatham Anglers, and Cotuit's back at the plate. The middle of the order, Arajanu, Parker Chavers, and then Casey Schmidt. 4, 5, and 6 against the right-hander Zach Cable. He's into his 3rd inning of work. He has retired all 6 batters that he's faced. Arajanu 0 for 2. He flew out to center field back in the 3rd. That was against Cable. Struck out back in the 1st against the Chatham starter, Hugh Fisher. Anu, the switch hitter, bats from the left side. Cable, a stocky right-hander, ready from the stretch. First pitch, fastball low in the dirt. And that got away from Brady Smith for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute care hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. That's Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. Pop up on the infield. Tyler Dones has a beat on it, second base, and he makes the play, backpedaling for out number 1. Wasn't as easy as it probably should have been, but the wind altered the ball a little bit. Dones came in on it by a couple of steps too much and then had to backpedal at the last second to glove it. One down, nobody on, and Parker Chambers back at the plate in the bottom of the 6th. Kettleers trailing 4-3. Chambers from the left side. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out to short. Walked against Cable back in the 3rd. Fly ball, left field. Kelly Lau's got a beat on it. And he moves over into the gap to make the play for out number 2. Bless you. Arm's got his mic muted for good reason. I guess I just showed his hand. Bless you, my friend.
I was supposed to hide that sneeze.
I'm sorry. Oh, man. 4-3 Chatham in the bottom of the 6th. 2 outs of the base is empty. Here's Casey Schmidt. He's had a good day. 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored back in the 2nd. Grounded into a double play, though, back in the 3rd. Cable's first pitch. Fastball low. 1 ball and no strikes. Still a good amount of people here despite the thunderstorms that are tracking in from the north. Third base grandstand has thinned out just a little bit. A lot of activity here at Lowell Park, though. 1-0. Fastball in the dirt again, 2-0. Chatham on the road in the blue practice tops on white pants with blue pinstripes, the blue caps and the red A on the front. Kettleers in the home white pinstripes trimmed in maroon. Activity in the Cotuit bullpen. Looks like Beck Way is just getting in some practice work. Casey Schmidt turns on one down the left field line but pulls it foul. 2 balls and a strike. Also looks like a left-hander is getting loose. I believe that's Evan Justice. We'll confirm that for you later. 4-3 Chatham on the strength of the Paxton Wallace go-ahead double back in the 4th. 2 outs, nobody on. The 2-1 to Schmidt. Breaking ball, dropped on the inside corner, but ball 3. Cotuit racked up 3 runs on 6 hits in the first 3 frames. However, they have only had 1 hit since Zach Cable has entered the ball game back in the 3rd. First 2 retired here in the bottom of the 6th. 3-1 to Schmidt. Fastball low. He's on board with a 5-pitch walk. Casey Schmidt on base for the 2nd time in 3 tries today. And Joey Loperfido at the plate. 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored back in the 2nd. Flew out to center field back in the 4th. Wallace holds on the runner and Schmidt at first. Gap on the right side of the Chatham infield. Arenas plays closer to the line and back at third base. Cable out of the stretch. First pitch to Loperfido outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Loperfido, a native of Haddonfield, New Jersey, just wrapped up his sophomore effort with the Duke Blue Devils. Back in the starting lineup after a night off yesterday. 1-0 pitch. Fastball low. 2 balls and no strikes. Whenever I hear Haddonfield, I think of the movie Halloween. Haddonfield, Illinois. I don't think that's a real town, though, in real life, Haddonfield, Illinois, but it is in New Jersey. Loperfido from the South Shore area in Haddonfield. You ever seen Halloween?
Like 10 years ago. I really don't remember it.
Really? We've been watching all these scary movies this summer, and you haven't even seen Halloween.
Is that even really scary, though?
Yeah, it is, man. Comment on the broadcast if you've seen it.
Major League's still at the top of my list for movies to rewatch.
3-0 on Loperfido. Well, it was that anniversary today, right?
Yep. Gotta watch it. It's been too long.
I haven't seen it in a couple of summers either. But we can't watch Halloween, though, because you got to watch Halloween around Halloween. Runner on first and Schmidt with 2 outs. Kettleers down 4-3. 3-0. A get me over fastball at the knees of Loperfido. 3 balls and a strike. Cable, a long look in. Now he looks back at the runner. 3-1. Fastball lifted foul up the left field line and out of play. Full count on Loperfido. Good catch by there by one of the kids with their mitt at the ballpark. That's good to see. Kettleers trailing 4-3 in the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 with 2 outs. Fastball way upstairs. It gets behind Smith. Schmidt hustles around second and only goes about halfway to third before pumping the brakes. It's a walk to Loperfido. He's on board for the second time in 3 plate appearances. And Cotuit extends the inning here with 2 outs in the 6th. Cody Pasek next up. Back-to-back 2-out walks by Zach Cable. It's the 3rd walk for him out of the bullpen for Chatham. And Cody Pasek returns to the plate, working on a 1-for-2 day with an RBI single back in the 2nd. He squared up a ball pretty good back in the 4th, a deep fly out to center field. Time called behind home plate by Brady Smith. He goes out to the mound along with Chatham's pitching coach Dennis Cook. Cook, an alum of Texas. He's visiting with a right-hander out of Kentucky and Cable. An opportunity here for the Kettleers to pounce on him.
This is a big spot, and there's a left-hander warming up in the bullpen. I believe it's Wu Yelland. So a good spot to pounce on the right-handed pitcher, who the Kettleers have had way more success against righties than lefties this year, and this could be the end of the line for Cable after Pasek. So this is the spot, like you said, Sam, to tie this game up, and we don't know if we're going to get all 9 in, so you got to do it now. You can't think about later.
2 on with 2 out for the Kettleers. Chatham up 4-3 in the bottom of the 6th. Cable has worked 3 2/3. He entered in the 3rd inning after Hugh Fisher got touched up in the first 2 innings. He has walked 3 and only allowed 1 hit. Pasek at the plate from the left side. First pitch. Fastball hammered to straightaway center. Hall jogs back a couple of steps, backpedals, and then makes the play for out number 3. 1 pitch and the 3rd out of this inning to retire Cody Pasek. Kettleers unable to get anything going with a 2-out rally. No runs on no hits, no errors, and a couple of men left on base. We have played 6 complete, and Chatham controls it. Up 4-3 on the Kettleers. We'll be right back with the 7th after this on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Top of the 7th at Lowell Park. Kettleers down 4-3 against the Chatham Anglers. 8-9-1 due up for Chatham in this inning. Paxton Wallace, Colin Hall, and then Tyler Dones. Wallace has had a very productive day at the plate, 2 for 2 with a triple and an RBI double that scored the go-ahead run in the 4th. Ball Wallace starts things off with a first pitch fastball on the outside corner for a strike. No balls in 1 strike. Bows into his 4th inning of relief out of the pen. 0-1 pitch home. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Wallace in a quick 0-2 hole. Jackson Wolf started out the game for the Kettleers. He worked 3 innings, allowed 3 runs on 2 hits, 2 of them earned. Hofstra with the 2-strike pitch. Slider hammered right up the middle and into center for a single. Paxton Wallace, look out. He's now a home run shy of the cycle. A triple, an RBI double, and now a single to spark things in the top of the 7th for Chatham.
And Wallace is a guy that came into today's ball game hitting just 200. Going to see a nice little bump in that batting average, regardless if he picks up another hit in this game.
One on with nobody out, and here's Colin Hall, the number 9 batter out of Georgia Tech. The left-handed batting center fielder is 0 for 2 today with a strikeout looking against Hofstra back in the 4th. He shows bunt, pops it down in front of the mound. Hofstra fields, slings it on to first. Low pick over there by Loperfido for out number 1. Wallace up to second base on a good sacrifice by Hall, 1-3. Hall does his job. Runner in scoring position for Chatham with just 1 out in the 7th. And it's back to the top of the Angler order. Tyler Dones, the leadoff man, gets a chance. 0 for 3 with a strikeout looking back in the 4th. Reached on an error back in the 3rd and scored a run. Looks like Dones is waiting on a new bat or some equipment or something. He was ready to come out of the on-deck circle and then went back to the dugout. Instead, we get a pinch hitter for Chatham. This is definitely not Tyler Dones, but instead a pinch hitter. Chatham leads 4-3 in the top of the 7th inning. And Alex Terrell comes out of the dugout as a left-handed batting pinch hitter for Tyler Dones. Interesting substitution. Dones, a second baseman, lifted out of the game. That probably means that Houston Morrill out of Oklahoma State will come on as a defensive sub later in this game at second. And Terrell, a power-hitting first baseman, goes into the leadoff spot for the moment and has an opportunity with his team leading 4-3. Only 1 out in the 7th and a runner on second and Wallace. Pick over to second by Hofstra. A spin move back to Oviedo, who covered, but Wallace able to dive back in safely.
And Terrell has struggled to start the season. He didn't get the start today because of the left-hander starting Jackson Wolf. Now he pinch hits against a right-hander, Bo Hofstra, and a good spot for him.
Hofstra ready, leg lift in the first pitch. Breaking ball outside to Terrell. 1 ball and no strikes. You mentioned his struggles, Aram. He only has 6 hits in 40 at-bats. That's a 150 batting average. 1 home run, though, and 3 driven in. Bo at the belt. 1-0. Fastball in the dirt. Blocked by Pasek. 2 balls and no strikes. Beckway getting loose in the Kettleer pen. Hard-throwing righty. Lefty still getting loose in the Chatham pen out in right field. We believe that's Jeremy Wu Yelland. 2-0. Fastball off the plate. 3 balls and no strikes on Terrell. Wallace singled to center to lead off the inning. He was sacrificed over by Hall. Terrell, the pinch hitter, at the top spot of the Chatham order. Oviedo shades the runner at second base. Schmidt plays back at third. Big gap on the left side of the infield. And Terrell calls for time. Cloudy day in Cotuit. Windy, hot day. And it's 4-3 Chatham in the 7th. Hofstra ready at the belt. Long hold, Oviedo backs off at short. 3-0 pitch. A slider misses down and in at the ankles. A 4-pitch walk to the pinch hitter and Terrell with first base open.
Hofstra wanted nothing to do with Terrell there, and you don't blame him. Terrell had a pinch hit shot double at Chatham. If you remember, he didn't get the start again because Jackson Wolf, the left-handed pitcher, was starting. Pinch hit against a righty, and he crushed one. We know he can do damage against right-handed pitchers, and probably smart to just pitch around Terrell. And looks like Coach Roberts is going to go to the pen and bring in a new arm.
Mike Roberts signals to his bullpen in the left field corner. He wants a pitching change. That is it for Bo Hofstra. Bo goes a strong 3 1/3. He is responsible for the 2 runners on base right now. Ben Ramirez, the next batter at the plate for Chatham, and we will get you the new arm for the Kettleers on the other side of this break. Chatham 4 and the Kettleers 3 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. To it. Top of the 7th inning. Chatham has 2 on with 1 out. New pitcher out of the Kettleer bullpen. Beck Way comes on for the 8th time this season. Primary arm out of the Kettleer pen, especially at home. He inherits the 2 runners from Bo Hofstra. And right now the focus of this game is behind home plate. Both managers talking with Dan Henry, our home plate umpire. The umps came to conference together just moments ago as Beck Way came into the game, and I believe they are talking about the weather. Thunderstorms coming in from the south, due for the entire Cape, and we have already played 5 innings, so this game is definitely going to go down in the books as a complete game. Chatham leads the Kettleers 4-3, and both managers still talking with the home plate umpire just up the first baseline. Both managers still talking. It looks like Mike Roberts is not happy with the way that things are going in the conversation, and for good reason. His team is losing 4-3. Tom Holliday, a quick word, and he says, I'm all right with whatever that was. Mike Roberts not happy. And Dan Henry goes back behind home plate and puts on his mask. We're ready to play ball again for the moment. Now Beck Way starts his warm-up. So Beck Way is on for the Kettleers here in the top of the 7th inning. He's still got to throw his warm-up pitching. He paused before that little meeting between the umpires. 6'3", 190 pounds. Right-hander out of Belmont Abbey, a D2 school. Native of Mechanicsburg, PA. 2-1 with a 1.17 earned run average in 7 appearances so far this summer. 7 2/3 innings pitched. He's only allowed 1 earned run on 5 hits. He has walked 7 and struck out 9. Control has been some of the problem from Beck whenever he has run into trouble. But other than that, he has been pretty darn good. And he is in on a late inning for the Kettleers. Normally the roles would have been reversed. Bo Hofstra came in for the Cotuit Kettleers back in the 4th inning. Worked 3 1/3. Allowed 1 run on 2 hits, walked 3, and struck out 4. He is responsible for the 2 runners on base right now. So his line has not been completed yet, and Beck Way continues to throw for the Kettleers. It's Ben Ramirez who's up next, the number 2 batter in the Chatham order. And Way wraps up his warm-up pitches, so it looks like we're set to get things back going. Cotuit's down 4-3 in the top of the 7th. 2 on with 1 out, and Ben Ramirez at the plate. 0 for 3 with 3 flyouts. 1 to right field and the last 2 to left field. Left-handed batting shortstop from USC. Nobody holds on the runners. Infield at double play depth. And the first pitch from Way. Hard fastball low and away. Called for a strike at 95 miles an hour. 0-1. Casey Schmidt just on the edge of the grass at third base. Adam Oviedo does shade the runner at second. Ways 0-1. Slider. Zips back into the zone for a called strike. 0-2. Way a leg lift, and he turns back to second to check on the runner and Wallace. Nothing doing. Just wanted him to get back in there. 2 on with 1 out. 2-strike pitch. Fastball roped up the middle. That's into center field for a base hit. Wallace chugs into third. He stays there. Was weary of a potential line out to second base. Nick Gonzalez actually flashed across that ball and almost was able to make a play on it. But it's a 1-out single for Ben Ramirez to give Chatham the bases loaded with only 1 out, and their best batter at the plate in Jamal O'Gwin the second.
For the Anglers, this is where they want to be. Like you mentioned, Sam, this is their best hitter. Bases are loaded. Beck Way has nowhere to put him, and Coach Roberts is going to go talk to Beck.
Coach out of the dugout, and it looks like he wants to go to Casey Schmidt for a potential pitching change because Schmidt just came off third base and went into the dugout to change up his gear a little bit. Beckway faces the one batter in Ramirez and gives up the single. Base is still loaded with one out, and we'll see what Coach wants to do here. We'll take the moment to tell you about Curry College. Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit Curry College online at curry.edu. That's Curry College online at curry.edu. Casey Schmidt comes out of the dugout. He shed one of his armbands and comes onto the mound to take the ball from Beckway. He's a new pitcher for Cotuit when we come back. We'll take a quick pause and let Casey get warmed up. Base is loaded for Chatham. Only one out here in the 7th, and it's a 4-3 game. Kettleers losing right now, and we'll be right back in just a moment on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Top of the 7th inning, one out, and the base is loaded for Chatham. 4-3 Chatham over the Kettleers. Casey Schmidt, the new pitcher for Cotuit. Right-hander relieves Beckway after giving up a hit against one batter, and the Kettleers bring the infield in with Jamal O'Gwyn at the plate. Schmidt ready out of the stretch, closed off. Leg lift, first pitch to O'Gwyn. Changed him up, got him on a swing and a miss. That's that off-speed splitter that he loves to go to, and he gets ahead 0-1. Richard Brereton, the new third baseman for Cotuit. Casey Schmidt stays in the lineup as the number 6 batter. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike, 0-2. Chatham began this inning with a single by Paxton Wallace. He was sacrificed over by Colin Hall. Bo Hofstra walked a pinch hitter and Alex Terrell. That was it for him. Then Beckway came in and gave up a single to center by Ben Ramirez. Schmidt into the game to face O'Gwyn with the bases loaded and one out. No balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. Breaking ball. Got him swinging. Casey Schmidt. 3 pitches of work and a strikeout of O'Gwyn for out number 2 in the 7th.
Huge strikeout to pick up there, and he wasted no time going right after him. And that's a tough guy to get out, and he set him down on 3 pitches.
All off speed for Casey Schmidt in that at-bat. And a big second out for the Kettleers here in the 7th. 4-3 Chatham, bases still loaded, and here's Jorge Arenas. 0 for 2 today with a couple of ground outs and an RBI sac fly back in the 3rd. Schmidt ready out of the stretch, infield plays back. First pitch. Hard fastball at 89 miles an hour. 1 ball and no strikes. Thinking about two-way players from San Diego State. Of course, Schmidt, a two-way guy from the Aztecs. One of those back in the day was Mike Leake. Pitcher with multiple major league organizations. Wave and a miss at a fastball inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Leake was drafted by the Cincinnati Reds in the 1st round. Could handle the bat pretty well in the major leagues. He stopped hitting in the majors, obviously, and went on to play with the Cardinals and the Mariners. 4-3 Chatham in the 7th. Bases loaded with 2 outs. 1-1 to Arenas. Breaking ball hit on the left side. It gets through Brereton. Backhand diving stop by Oviedo. And he keeps it from going into left field. But that's about all. Chatham gets a run home on the hit. Jorge Arenas with an infield single. And that plates the runner from third and Wallace. And it's 5-3 Chatham in the 7th. Weird play on the left side of the infield. It took a weird skip on Brereton at the last moment, and he was playing in a little bit at third base. And Adam Oviedo slid to his hip to try and backhand it in the hole at short, but he had no throw anywhere. Base is still loaded with 2 outs, and Kendrick Kellylau back at the plate. First pitch breaking ball, grounded up the middle to short. Ovi flips it onto second. He gets the short wave for out number 3. Casey Schmidt comes out of the bullpen and gets the job done. He minimizes the damage, but Chatham's able to extend their lead. An RBI infield hit by Jorge Arenas, and that makes it 5-3 Anglers. Heading into the bottom of the 7th, stretch time at Lowell Park. Cotuit at the plate when we return. Coming up next on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Here we go, bottom of the 7th at Cotuit. 5-3 Chatham over the Kettleers, and a new pitcher on in the back end of the Chatham bullpen. Jeremy Wu Yellen, a lefty out of Hawaii, comes on to try and close this thing out. Cotuit with 9-1-2 due up in this inning. Oviedo, Gonzalez, and then Hill. Wu Yellen has been really good this season. No record with a 2.89 earned run average. It's his 5th appearance out of the pen. Went 2 innings in his most recent outing on Monday in a comfortable win over YD. Adam Oviedo takes a fastball low and outside for strike 1. 94 miles an hour on the radar gun for Wu Yelland. Ovi's 1 for 2 with an RBI single that put the Kettleers in front back in the 2nd inning. 0-1, heater way upstairs, 1 ball and 1 strike. It was 3-2 Cotuit at the time, but Chatham has since rallied for 3 unanswered. An RBI sac fly by Arenas in the 3rd tied it at 3. Paxton Wallace a go-ahead double in the 4th. 2 balls and a strike on Oviedo, and oh my goodness gracious. A high fastball that smacks Dan Henry, our home plate umpire, straight in the face. He is down behind home plate and hopefully is okay. The Cotuit athletic training staff immediately rushed from the third base dugout, and Dan Henry is injured after that last pitch. Hopefully he is okay. The rest of his crewmates are back behind home plate with him, along with Tom Holliday, the Chatham manager, and Chatham's athletic trainer. That did not look pretty. Henry on all fours behind home plate, keeled over. That was a hard fastball, 90-plus miles an hour from Wu Yelland. And he's got a mask on back there, but I'm not sure exactly where that got him in the mask. Craig Moody now looking at him, Cotuit's athletic trainer. Good news is that Henry is back up on his knees and being tested right now with a trainer and Moody. Lowell Park goes silent. Henry probably being tested for a concussion protocol right here. Craig Moody running through those tests. Mike Roberts has come down from the third base dugout with his arms folded across his chest. 2 balls and 1 strike now on Adam Oviedo, who just looks on in the on-deck circle alongside Nick Gonzalez.
We'll see if they decide to just go with 2 umpires for the rest of the way. Of course, primarily just hoping Dan Henry's okay. And then from there, I assume he's not going to go back behind home plate, or probably not even going to stay in this ball game. Likely going to have to go with a 2-umpire crew for the rest of this one.
Hopefully Henry is okay. We will step aside and take a quick break for him. We'll be right back in just a moment. Chatham 5 and Cotuit 3 with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 7th inning with 1 out, and the Kettleers trailing Chatham 4-3. Sam Niederman, Arm Layton, and our production team here in the press box. If you were just joining us, a terrible accident on the field 1 pitch ago. It was a 1-1 count on Adam Oviedo, and Jeremy Wu Yelland, a lefty out of the pen for Chatham, rocked the home plate umpire with a fastball straight to the mask, and it hit him directly in the face. Hopefully he is okay. The great news is he was able to be helped off the field under his own power with the Cotuit athletic training staff, and he is being checked at in the training room right now by Craig Moody and company. That leaves us with 2 umpires, Frank Auditor and Mike Rabideau, and it looked like they were going to try and carry on this game together as a 2-man crew, but the problem is none of them can change into any gear. So they're trying to figure out right now, how do we call the balls and strikes? I'm assuming, at least what I would think, is one of them would go behind the mound and call from behind the mound.
I don't know if that would be an official game, though. I think there might be a Cape Cod rule where you have to have an umpire behind home plate. It looks like Mike Rabideau's on speakerphone.
Yeah, he's with somebody, probably the league office or the umpire chief, whoever that might be. Maybe he's talking to the commissioner or Bill Boussier, who knows, somebody in that front office for the Cape League to get an official rule. The other thing that kind of complicates this is, number one, no lights at Lowell Park, so it is getting darker a little bit, but we still have plenty of time at 7:30. The other thing, though, the weather that's coming in, we've already completed the 5 innings to make this an official game, but the umpiring situation with Dan Henry, our home plate umpire, going down with an injury complicates things a little bit. Mike Roberts and Tom Holliday have been talking with the 2 remaining umpires for a while now, and now Mike Roberts and Tom Holliday are talking with the 3 batters involved in this situation for the Kettleers. Adam Oviedo, the man at the plate, with a 2-1 count. Nobody on in the bottom of the 7th in a 5-3 game favoring Chatham. Just a weird situation. One of the umpires went back to his car to try and find gear. He came back empty-handed with nothing to change into. And the other one just went back towards the cars as well, I'm assuming to see if he could get any gear. Meanwhile, Jeremy Wu Yelland was throwing some warm-up pitches. Casey Schmidt has been warming up in the Kettleer pen. Remember, he came on to finish off the top of the 7th, and he just came flying out of the bullpen like a banshee because one of the balls from the Chatham infield went up the left field line, and he's just having some good fun with Ben Ramirez, the shortstop. The Bat Boys are talking behind home plate with each other. That's good to see. That's a pretty cool thing right there.
Well, they're usually racing for the ball behind home plate. There's some competitiveness between teams' Bat Boys, but some unity right here is all 4 are just talking and probably trying to figure out what the heck's going on also.
Frank Auditor, I believe he's the man on the phone right now, one of the 2 umps left over, trying to contact somebody in the Cape League office or umpire association to make sure that we can get this game moving before any storms hit. Bottom of the 7th inning with nobody on and nobody out. Adam Oviedo's at the plate with a 2-1 count. And the stoppage in play right here because of Dan Henry, our home plate umpire, getting injured on a pitch by Jeremy Wu Yelland that was hard and high, a fastball that squared him up right in the mask. Thankfully, he was able to come off the field after kneeling down behind home plate for a couple minutes or so, and now he is in the trainer's room getting checked on by the Kettleer athletic training staff. So, Arm, what do you think right here? I mean, do you think we get this game? How do you think we finish out this game or at least address this situation?
Well, I mean, with it already being 7:30, we were in jeopardy to get all 9 in to begin with. Now it's already going to be 7:40. We don't have the game underway. It's still going to take a few minutes for everyone to warm back up, umpire to throw his gear on if he can even find it. And we don't know the rules of whether you can even have an umpire behind home plate. And I'd venture to say with how old-fashioned the Cape Cod League is, you might have to have an umpire behind home plate to have it be an official game. This isn't Little League where you could figure it out and have the guy behind home plate. So this could be an issue, and we could end up just calling it here. But the thing is, I think it reverts back to the last completed inning.
Yeah, which
so
would be
the final
6th.
score would still be 4-3 in favor of Chatham, but it wouldn't help Cotuit out here. But you could revert back to the last completed inning, which still gives Chatham the win. So it's really not a good situation for the Kettleers here, and just hoping that they can get at least one more crack here with the bottom of the 7th trying to get underway.
Yeah, that's what makes it a lot more complicated. The Kettleers are the home team, and they are the trailing team at the moment. Chatham leads 5-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Adam Oviedo, the next batter. Then it would be Nick Gonzalez on deck, and it looks like Dante Williams is scheduled to pinch hit for Cam Hill in the number 2 spot. Mike Roberts now kind of shaking his head. It looks like he's said everything that he can, and it's just a matter of waiting. Frank Auditor still on the phone right outside the Kettleers third base dugout ledge. Tom Holliday has gone back to his first base dugout side. He said all that he needs to say, and we're all just standing by. No sign of whether Dan Henry has come out of the training room. Again, thoughts and prayers for him after he took that fastball to the mask. And we hope that he comes out as healthy as he can be, but it's clear that he's not going to be able to come back into this game and call balls and strikes behind home plate. That's what we're trying to sort out right now. And a lot of Kettleer fans are starting to empty out of the third base grandstand. Like Aram told you, if this game was called right here, it would be a complete game because we've registered the necessary 5 innings, and we would go back to the last full complete inning, which is the 6th. It would erase a run for Chatham, which was the RBI infield single by Jorge Arenas, but it would still keep the Kettleers on the losing end of this game 4-3. Now Mike Roberts coming over towards the press box behind home plate to talk with Roy Reese, our home plate or PA announcer. What time play stopped? Negative. Coach Roberts just came up and shouted to our booth to see if we knew what time played stopped, and unfortunately I don't have that. Do you, my friend?
I do not. I can get close to an idea, but I want to say it was around 7:20 something. 7:25, 7:27, but it's tough to really get a gauge on that. I guess YouTube would be indicative of that.
Yeah, if we could somehow.
It was around 13 minutes ago.
13 minutes ago would be
7:25. Oh, we got the
7.
gear on. You got the gear on. The other guy got him on camera. Get him on camera.
All right, so one of our umpires has come out here behind home plate. I believe that's Mike Rabideau, who has gotten the home plate umpire gear on. So he'll be set to call balls and strikes behind home plate. Frank Auditor is still talking with Coach Roberts on the third base dugout. And Jeremy Wu Yelland has begun to warm up again on the mound. (5-3) Chatham in the bottom of the 7th inning. Adam Oviedo's at the plate. Here comes Frank Auditor. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, so that was the first base umpire, Frank Auditor. Don't know if you caught any of that on our mic, but this game is now under protest from the Kettleers and Mike Roberts. There is no protest number, so there isn't a specific parameter that Coach Roberts is protesting here in the bottom of the 7th with a 5-3 score favoring Chatham and the Kettleers at the plate. But the first base umpire just told us we're going to go as long as we can. It could be one batter. We're going to just keep going as long as we can, but the game is under protest.
It's just a general protest, I guess, not protesting anything in specific, like you said. I don't think there is any policy for umpire getting knocked out of the game, so it's kind of going to be at the league's discretion based on what happens moving forward.
Adam Oviedo, the batter. We're back to pick things back up again. 2-1 pitch from Wu Yellen. A fastball called for a strike at the knees. 2-2. So the game is under protest by the Kettleers, and Cotuit trails 5-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Adam Oviedo from the right side swings and misses at a fastball. He foul tips it back into Brady Smith's mitt. A strikeout for Wu Yellen to get things going in the bottom of the 7th. And it's back to the top of the Kettleer lineup with Nick Gonzalez. So we only have 2 umpires. Mike Rabideau calls the balls and strikes behind home plate. Frank Auditor at first base. And Dan Henry has exited the game with an injury. Nick Gonzalez fouls off strike 1. The Kettleers are protesting the result of this game. That basically means it'll be reviewed afterwards by the league, and they'll sort everything out. A lot of moving parts to this.
I think Coach Roberts' argument is going to be that we wasted X amount of time and we could have got another inning in, and that ended up costing the Kettleers with daylight now dwindling.
And the weather as well. Fly ball to center field. Hall charging
They don't
in.
see it.
And the second baseman is able to make the play for Chatham. And he makes it for out number 2.
Saw 2 different guys there put their hands up like, I don't know where it is. Ultimately, the second baseman was able to make the grab, but it's really hard to see right now, and light's beginning to become a factor. And I think that's why Coach Roberts asked us what time play stopped, because that's going to be a big component on whether they will win this protest when it goes into the Cape Cod League's office.
Here's Dante Williams, a pinch hitter for Cam Hill. 2 outs and the base is empty, and Wu Yellen gets a first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Coach Roberts asked us what time play stopped, and we believe, according to Josh Rothstein and Jacob Cohen, our wonderful production members, that 7:25 was the last clock that we had before play stopped after Wu Yellen hit the home plate umpire with the pitch. That would have made it about a 12-minute delay or so. 1 ball and 1 strike on Dante Williams. Wu Yellen's pitch. Fastball low at the shins. 2 balls and a strike. Chatham has scored 3 unanswered. 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and 1 in the top of the 7th inning, an RBI infield single by Arenas. Kettleers down by 2 with 2 outs and the base is empty. Wu Yellen from the stretch, 2-1. Fastball spliced off foul on the left side, 2-2. Cotuit has put the game under protest, a general protest by head coach Mike Roberts after the delay. And it is getting dark as well with the dark clouds overhead. Pretty tough to see without any lights at Lowell Park. 2-2. Fastball away. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Dante Williams, the pinch hitter for Cam Hill, in a full count. Wu Yellen, a deep breath, 3-2. Got him swinging, 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And that's strike 3, out number 3. Kettleers go down in order in the 7th, and we'll be back with the 8th on the other side of this break. Kettleers down 5-3 against Chatham on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Cotuit. Well, as you can tell on your screen, if you're watching on YouTube, that is the end of the game. The game has been called after 7 innings of play. Chatham wins it 5-3 over Cotuit. This game is under protest by the Kettleers and Coach Mike Roberts, a general protest. The crux of the game just happened here in the bottom of the 7th. Adam Oviedo was at the plate with a 1-1 count to start things off for the Kettleers. And Jeremy Wu Yellen, the left-handed pitcher out of the pen for Chatham, nailed the home plate umpire Dan Henry with a fastball. It hit him straight in the mask. He was injured. That caused a delay. He exited the game. We finished up the final 3 outs of the 7th with a 2-man umpiring crew. And Coach Roberts put the game under protest after the lengthy delay arm. Just a wacky way to end things. And first and foremost, we hope that Dan Henry's doing all right and that he's able to recover from hopefully no injuries. But just a tough one for the Kettleers in a shortened game in 7 innings, 5-3 under protest.
Yeah, of course, like you said, Sam, first and foremost, our thoughts are with Dan Henry. Hope he's okay. As for the ball game, which obviously comes second, but going into it, it's going to be a 5-3 final, as we did finish that 7th inning with the Dante Williams strikeout. So that 7th inning will count. and that is the shortest ball game we've played so far this season. But in recap, it is 5-3 in favor of Chatham. Hugh Fisher was the starter. He just went a couple of innings. Zach Cable actually gets the win for Chatham, and Jeremy Will-Yelland will pick up the save, the elusive 7th inning save, where he just went 3 outs. But with the darkness coming on and he was throwing hard, it was really difficult for these Kettleer hitters to see anything. As for the Kettleers, Jackson Wolf got the start. He was touched up a little bit, not as sharp as his first start against Chatham. Ends up picking up the loss. Bo Hofstra was pretty good in relief, and we saw a solid inning out of Casey Schmidt. Beck Way only threw 3 pitches before he was yanked by Coach Roberts. But not a bad day at the plate for the Kettleers. Really a lot better than we'd seen in the past before Hyannis. And Nick Gonzalez, of course, leading the way with the leadoff home run to start this ball game off. Casey Schmidt and Joey Loperfido added some singles, and Cody Pasek picked up a big RBI single. Adam Oviedo as well had an RBI single, but ultimately the Kettleers would fall to lose 5-3 and fall back to 500. A tough one, a really wacky game, Sam. And moving forward now, what do you do if you're the Kettleers?
Well, the Kettleers just did not get any hits today. That was the problem. The 6 hits all came in the first 3 innings. So that was the problem for Cotuit offensively, and they came up with no hits in the final 4 innings of play, and Chatham's bullpen was just too much to overcome. I think you just put this one behind you, though. It's just too much of a change-up at the end. The circumstances were beyond Cotuit's control as far as the game being shortened to 7 innings, and also just not having good weather to fit this one in as well. If we had better weather and a little more light, we probably would have been able to at least get this game going, but just a lot of moving parts, and unfortunately Cotuit on the short end of a 5-3 game.
And this was a seesaw game, back and forth. The Kettleers led 1-0 before a Brady Smith 2-run shot gave Chatham the lead 2-1. The Kettleers then recaptured the lead 4-3, and then 3-2 rather, and then Chatham scored 3 more runs to make it 5-3, and that's where the score stayed. So it was back and forth, a solid game, and you got to think if there was a few more innings and we were able to get 9 in, that there was a lot more action still to be had in this ball game. Unfortunately, it's cut short, and the Kettleers will travel to Bourne tomorrow, and that'll be a 6 o'clock game, and we'll be broadcasting from Mixler, and then a makeup on Monday, the 8th. So it's a tough loss. Got to turn the page and get going. Of course, they were able to pick up a big win yesterday. The offense was a little bit better. We're talking about baby steps against good teams like this. If we talked about the Hyannis win, it was a big win, of course, to win by 14 runs nearly, 13 runs. They won 16-4, so 12 runs rather, and it was a big win. But a team that really struggles in Hyannis and last in ERA, last in batting average. And we were talking about this is a real gauge today against Chatham, and they really got to see where they're at. And they battled back and forth, ultimately dropped 5-3 in a shortened game, but got to turn the page here.
Indeed. The Kettleers lose this one 5-3 against the Chatham A's, and we'll put a bow on it because it looks like the storms are coming in. The clouds just got a couple of shades darker, and it looks like the heavens are about to open up. Aram, my friend, always a pleasure with you. A big thanks to Josh Rothstein and Jacob Cohen behind the chairs in the production unit, and our entire beat writing team, Will Krause and Ben Gainsborough, the entire Cotuit Kettleers media team doing a great job today. Kettleers lose 5-3, 5 runs on 7 hits, no errors for Chatham, 3 runs on 6 hits, and 1 error for Cotuit. Time of the game, it took just a little bit over 2 hours and 40 minutes. Cotuit drops to 10-10-2 on the season, and they are now back at 500 again, just going up and down. Chatham improves to 14-7-1 on the season, and remember, the game is under protest, so we will keep you updated on the results of the game, how the league will approach and address the protests by the Kettleers and Coach Mike Roberts. We got a potluck to get to. They're setting up underneath the tent, so we're going to get to some eating. Thank you for joining us all afternoon and for hanging in. For Arm Layton, I'm Sam Niederman. Chatham wins it 5-3, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at Doran Park.